and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a brand new show, top of the tailgate here on the Finn's Tailgate Network. I'm your host, Ali. How's it going? How's everybody doing? Make sure you hit the like button. We're going to have a good show today. It's the beginning of the weekend. I'll be introducing my co-host soon. So let's get it going. Before I introduce my co-host, though, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, check out some of our other content. We got El Capitan and the Finn's Tailgate Show. We got Culler, a cup of coffee of Culler. We might be doing that today. Culler might be rocking and rolling with it. Got myself in the morning show Monday through Friday, top of the tailgate. We also have Broken Takes. Check out some of our past episodes of Broken Takes. There's no Broken Take this week, but that's okay. We had to get this show up and going. And then beginning of the preseason, going into the season, throughout the season, you'll have Late Night Exhale with myself as well as Culler and everyone else from the Finn's Tailgate. So rock and roll to them. That also being said, check out DTA and the Rabid Dolphin. I'm sorry, DTA in his previous content. We also got Lewis and the Rabid Dolphin. Check out his stuff as well. You can also check out Shake Money. There's a lot of Shake Money content all over the place. He's rocking and rolling, doing interviews, doing traffic jam episodes and everything. He's been rocking and rolling. If you'd like to donate to the channel, check out check out # Finn's Tailgate for Cash App donations or the Finn's Tailgate for Venmo. We really appreciate it. We also accept super chats and super stickers. So you don't have to, but we really appreciate it if you did. With that being said, shout out to our affiliates. Check out the description below in our affiliates. Yes, I see you there, James Jordan. Became a member. We really appreciate you. Welcome to Amigos Rock and Roll. Let's actually shout out to our affiliates, though.
New seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics, officially licensed everything.
That's right, officially licensed everything. Check out Fanatics. Make sure you use the link below specifically. Helps out the channel. But they have everything. They have all the draft hats like the one I'm wearing right now. They have jerseys. They always got deals going on. Every time I'm turning around, it's 20% off or free expedited shipping. They got tons of stuff going on all the time. They got swag. They got signed, certified signed memorabilia as well. They sell helmets. They sell everything, not just for Miami or for NFL. They have pretty much all sports. Check out Fanatics. They got tons of stuff. Also, while you're checking out Fanatics, check out Backroom Collections. Get some really cool artwork and canvas work for your office, man cave, place of business, whatever it may be. Check out Backroom Collections. They even do custom work, not just Miami or NFL. They also got accessories for those helmets, those little mini helmets that everybody collects. They got some cool stuff, so check them out. Use code TFTG at checkout to save 10% off of your Backroom Collection purchase. That also being said, check out Doobie Energy Drink. Check them out. They got some really cool energy supplements. Their stuff claims to have certain vitamins and all natural stuff that is supposed to help benefit the brain and help it focus on concentration and whatnot. They have all different types of flavors and supplements. And supposedly they also don't cause that crashing or jittering that people get from most energy drinks. So check out Doobie Energy Drinks. And also check out Shake's Money review. He has a review out there that he actually tries it out and see what he thinks. Take his word for it. All right. With that ado, let me give this guy a better introduction. Everybody, give out applause. The man, the myth, the legend. Culler, what's up, Culler?
Damn, I'm just like whisking in here like from the fairy glen.
I had to give you some different type of music. I'll do that every week, man. I'll give you something different.
That's cool, man. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. If you didn't know, today it's let's see, it's 6:11 a.m. here on the Eastern Shore. In our current weather report, it's currently 77 degrees. Today's high is 83 with a low of 74. Says it feels like 77. There's a humidity of about 83%.
Ugh, gross.
Currently, it's supposed to be partly cloudy. Afternoon, 18% chance of showers, of rain. Evening, that shoots up to about 33% with possible rain and scattered thunderstorm. So,
It's like we may get some here in the morning. I mean, 18% don't sound like a lot, but it looks pretty ugly already out west. But
oh
yeah,
yeah,
sun will come up and clear a lot of that out. We might get a nice little shower this morning, but that'll be it.
33% doesn't sound like a lot, but I'll tell you what, yesterday around 12 noon, it said, oh yeah, there's a 30% chance of rain, and it ended up becoming a monsoon thunderstorm. That's what it ended up being. So
Oh,
33.
no doubt. I mean, talk about that was like Arizona monsoon, man.
It came down there too in West Palm.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was coming down hard. I was like, wow. And imagine you also have like a metal roof right next to you too, and when rain hits that metal, you hear that like echoing sound. It was like a siren going off. I had to put my noise canceling headphones on without even listening to anything,
Oh, I
just to
bet, I bet.
block it out.
Yeah, it was the kind of rain like you're in Walmart and you know it's raining. You know what I mean? That's how heavy it was.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly like that. Oh, color. So today is June 2nd. We've officially accrued our extra cap space from the June cuts. Um,
We
yeah.
didn't run right out to McDonald's and get a Happy
No,
Meal.
no. We did not necessarily run to McDonald's to get our Happy Meal. But we'll get into that. Before we start, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got James Jordan become a member. Across the pond, if you didn't hear, it may be 4 a.m. where you're at. However, it's 6 a.m. on the eastern side. This is a new morning show, top of the tailgate. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. We got Shake Money, Steve USMC. What's up, Shake Money? He says it's a beautiful day in Zamunda as always. Michael K at Shake Money. Good morning. I see you. And we have Mr. Heffel as well. Heffel. Fins up family. That's right. That is right. So thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. If you're on the Facebook side, come join the conversation. Come to the YouTube side. Come hang out with us. We'd really appreciate that. Also, Color, you drinking some coffee? What's your coffee of the week? Still the same?
I am
McCafe?
I am still the same. I got about 4 cups left of it. I'll be buying some new stuff today for next week.
So I seem to have planned mine correctly according to the show, because today was my last cup of this coffee, my coffee of the week,
Oh, that's
which is
perfect.
Burismo coffee. If you haven't heard of Burismo, they're a German company. They use 100% Arabica beans. Their whole motto is giving you the best flavors at the lowest cost. Let it be coffee beans or the Keurig cups that people like to use, like myself. So check them out. Another cool factor, which I kind of thought was kind of neat, they're one of those companies that they are considered fair trade certified. Have you heard of that?
Roughly, not really.
Okay. Well, the fair trade certified mark that's on all of their boxes confirms that all of the farmers that worked on manufacturing or growing the crops and everything for this for the coffee beans got the fairest price paid to them. Basically, they definitely got paid. They weren't undercutted or anything like that. Just so you're aware, they got
Right.
fairest price for the beans and everything. So rock and roll to that. I thought that was kind of neat, something I didn't know about the company. So you can find their stuff either at Aldi's, Walmart.com, or Amazon. They have all different flavors. I'm currently drinking a blonde roast, which I like. It's a medium flavor
Mm.
coffee. I usually, as I said before on this channel, I usually use a about 2 tablespoons of hazelnut creamer. So my cat wants to make an appearance. Say hi. His name is Snickers. No Color. You cannot put him in your coffee. So you know. She's a Siamese kitty. She's called a Blue Point Siamese. So she's constantly jumping on my desk. So rock and roll to her. Anyway, check out Barismo coffee. Like I said, you can find it mostly at Aldi's, but you can also find it online as well. Yeah. So cause for cleats, Color. This is a big one. So today's cause for cleats is Melanoma Research Foundation. The Melanoma Research Foundation mission is to eradicate melanoma by accelerating medical research while educating to and advocating for the melanoma community. If you didn't know, melanoma claims the lives of over 7,000 Americans every year. Melanoma is the leading cause of cancer death in young women ages 25 to 30, and the second leading cause of cancer death in women ages 30 to 35. 9 out of 10 cases are considered to be preventable, which is good. 20 there's been funding melanoma research has led to 25 clinical trials, 109 grants with new calibrations, 236 publications, and 484 presentations. Some other things to know about melanoma is the Melanoma Research Foundation is the leading melanoma community to transform I can't even talk today, Color. Look at this. It's Friday. I'm ready for the weekend. Oh my god.
You got to get that hazelnut out your mouth.
Oh, ha, ha. Color with the jokes today. Rock and roll. The Melanoma Research Foundation is leading the melanoma community to transform melanoma from one of the deadliest cancers to one of the most treatable through research, education, and advocacy. Just so you know, the Melanoma Research Foundation is a nonprofit organization. You can find information on melanoma.org on how to donate. There's a lot of education and whatnot.
Yeah, very, very important cause, especially for those of us that live in these high UV environments like South Florida, Arizona, Southern Texas, New Mexico, Southern California, Alabama, Mississippi, all of you. Even you in the Tennessee Valley, it's an important cause. We all, sun is sun, and it beats down on everybody.
Yeah, so just a little bit more information. Melanoma is diagnosed in nearly 187,000 Americans each year. Melanoma does not discriminate by age, so even if you're not in one of those age groups, you could still, contradict melanoma.
But it does discriminate by shade.
So, that is true.
I venture to say about 150 of those 180,000 are below the Mason-Dixon.
Yeah, so just so you're aware of that. So, just some good information. Check out melanoma.org. There's a lot of information, how they can help, who to contact, what to ask doctors, a lot of different things, information you can get there. So definitely check that out. All right. So last night was
real quick, I missed the beginning. Which player was that? The cause for whose cause was that?
Thank you for reminding me. That was Raheem Mostert's.
Raheem Mostert. Alrighty,
yeah,
great.
Raheem
great
Mostert
cause,
actually has he has two things. He's about the Melanoma Foundation, as well as he has this it's called Raheem Mostert's giving mindset. Basically, he has this whole mindset about giving and helping others and stuff like that. You can find more about that on his own website as well.
Yeah, props to Raheem, man. Yeah. Everybody get out there, check out his cause, give whatever you can.
Oh yeah,
great dude and a great cause.
That is absolutely correct. And I thought it was fitting, since today we're going to be talking running backs mostly. Hence what you saw in the introduction. So we'll definitely be talking about that.
Running backs. Why would we
Yeah.
be talking about running backs today?
I'm just trying to make the playoffs, Culler. Why do we need the running back? We'll definitely talk about that soon. Before we do so, though, let's address some other stuff that happened in sports. So I called it. I said the first game is going to be taken by Denver, right? And Denver did not disappoint. They were crushing the beginning of that game into the half. They they were really bringing it. And then Miami started to slowly but surely make a comeback. They got within 10 Color with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. My question is, can they instrument a comeback? Will this be a sweep, or will they be able to come away with a game? Will it be interesting? Will it be Heat in 7? Will they win in 7 games? Or will Denver do what they haven't done in 47 years? Win an NBA championship? What do you think, Color?
Pat Riley.
Pat Riley?
I think he wholeheartedly fully expected what happened last night, and he is on his own program, and I'm still gonna say probably Heat in 6.
So the reason I'm asking Color about what I'm about to ask you is you've been to Colorado. I unfortunately to this day have never been to Colorado. I really would love to go. But what I've been told on multiple aspects on every sport level, including basketball, the air in Colorado is a lot different, specifically in Denver. And it does take kind of like the wind out of you. It doesn't matter if you're
Makes you
outside.
sleepy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're inside or outside. It's the same effect, from my understanding. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would say that I didn't really feel that way necessarily inside. I mean, once you're going in the day, it's not really much different. I've never really exerted a large amount of energy in Colorado. But I mean, I just know that when I'm riding around in the car in the mountains, I can't stay awake. But as far as other than that, you kind of don't really notice it other than that. I mean, I guess if you're exerting a lot of physical activity and, whatever else, you probably would notice it. But inside, I mean, those are pretty decently well controlled environments. I'm sure they have some, humidity control systems in that building. I'm not so sure it would make a difference inside, but I guess could be something to be said for it. Getting there, spending a day there before you play a game, with a lot less oxygen coming into your lungs throughout the day. Yeah, I guess it could take a toll.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. I was curious about that because I was watching the Lakers. We got swept, and they were actually talking about it. They were talking about when you come to Denver, there's like an adjustment period that you have to go through to kind of get used to the air. Most teams in the past have brought their team early to Denver so they can acclimate and everything.
I mean, if you look at it this way, Ali, the record, there's the record of number of wins in a season, and that was held by who? The Bulls, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was broken or tied by Golden State, right?
I think so, yeah.
Neither one of those are the Denver Nuggets.
That's true.
So obviously people have been able to win there, plenty. You know what I mean? Like they're not, you would think if it was that big a factor that they would be consistently in the 60, 70 win range. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, in sports in general, from my understanding, if it
was a factor, wouldn't they have won a championship in the last 47 years by now? If that was really a factor,
Yeah, I gotcha. I guess for me, it's kind of like, they have their do I put it? You know how like Miami has the sun, and everyone says the heat in Miami is like a big factor in games and everything, and
Right,
it's an
right.
advantage. For Denver and its teams, the air is kind of the advantage.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I'll
it
give
is an
you
advantage. Sure,
I'll give
sure.
you an example. In soccer, you know, they're kicking a soccer ball around and everything, right? I've been told that the ball bounces differently in Denver than it does or it bounces differently in Colorado and stuff differently than it does
Well, that
in
would
like
absolutely
Miami
be the
or
case. That
Orlando.
would absolutely be the case because of the fact
So,
that, yeah, I don't know if it would shrink or expand, but definitely the air would be different inside the ball, and the elasticity and all that of the ball would be totally different. Absolutely.
uh,
And also, you have a lot less air resistance because there's less moisture in the air, so there's less
mhm.
particles in the air to cause resistance. This is why you get a lot more home runs hit in Colorado. And not only do you get a lot more home runs hit in Colorado, but their
Mhm.
outfield is actually one of the bigger stadiums in the league, in the majors. So they've already tried to make up the difference by making it a deeper outfield, and people still hit more home runs there. You know,
Wow. So
you
it's
know.
actually a disadvantage at the same time.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why they don't stack their pitcher room with curveballers.
Mhm.
It's mainly fastballers because that's your only hope there. When you're playing half your games in that stadium, you got to have a pretty strong pitching group when it comes to fastball throwing, because think about it. When you throw a curveball, and I don't want to get too deep into baseball because this could apply to the spin of a football. This could apply to a lot of different things, but the ball is spinning, and so when they're throwing a curveball, it's got a certain spin on it. And what causes it to curve downward is actually the moisture in the air. It literally is it's like riding a slide of water. And so when you take that water away
Mhm.
and the pitcher gets the spin on the ball and he throws it the certain way, and you expect that curve, it never happens because there's no resistance. There's nothing to push on the downforce of the spin of the ball. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
it ends up flattening out, and that's where you get like a lot of these. You get even more home runs hit because you get hanging curveballs and hanging sliders.
Yeah. So definitely. I was just curious about that. You know, they talked about it a little bit,
Punters can
and
also punt very far in Colorado.
that's that's
uh,
interesting. It's actually funny you
yeah,
brought that.
90-yard punts in Colorado.
Yeah, it's actually funny you brought that up. I heard that Matt Ariza was trying out for the Jets. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I wouldn't imagine he'd have to try out for anybody. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I
the,
heard. I
the
didn't know if
tapes.
they got him
No,
or
I
not,
just
but
meant the tapes out there.
yeah.
Apply for a job. I guess that's the same thing in, in,
Mhm.
in sports.
Yeah. But it's just interesting. I was curious. Another interesting fact was I think the Heat only took two free throws the entire game. I've never seen that.
Well, that ain't gonna be good. I don't even know basketball that well, and I know that can't help you.
Yeah, I know free throws are a big part of the game to get free points, so definitely it's definitely interesting. Anyway, shout out to the Miami Heat and Denver. We'll see who wins. I still think the Nuggets have it, but that's just me. Um all right, Claire, let's keep it moving. Are you on location? Are you on the move?
I am not on the move today, but I
Uh,
can tell you that the traffic is pretty light. It's a Friday. It always is light, and
okay.
looks like nobody's going to work today. But again, sight unseen traffic report in Miami. If you're in the 305, today's traffic report is whichever way you're going, go the other way.
Mm, that's absurd. um, but yeah, definitely. Uh, Make sure you hit the like button, everybody. Thank you for coming and joining the channel. We really appreciate it. But let's get this show started. So like I said, we went ahead and we have accrued our salary. I'm sorry, our cap space. We have about $13.9 million, give or take, is what we have. I believe it's closer to $14 million is what we have actually, in cap space. I've read that we need about 3.6 million in cap space, to sign our drafted players and anybody that was undrafted. Just so you're aware. So that was kind of interesting. What else do we have on here? From what I've read, so from the biggest thing, before we even get into what I've read here, the biggest thing out news rumors that swirling around is Dalvin Cook. Is Dalvin Cook coming to Miami? Is Dalvin Cook going to be traded to Miami? We've read previously that the Vikings told Dalvin Cook that they're going to release him. That still hasn't happened, Culler. I still haven't seen anywhere where they've released him. They still have, he's still in their books. Will Dalvin Cook come to Miami? That is the big question. As you saw the title, Cook Watch. We're waiting to find out what's going to happen with Cook. But the question also remains, besides Cook, what should we do with that $13 million that we have? Should we sign a defensive tackle? Should we sign more offensive linemen? Should we let it roll over till next year to help with budgeting? Do we even really need to, since the cap is estimated to go up another $20 million? Those are all questions that have to be answered.
Do we carry it into the season to make sure we've got some injury money?
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. There are a lot of names I was reading, with free agency that are still out there. There's a lot of names, surprisingly, that are available. Another interesting thing is I've been talking about possibly a defensive tackle that we could bring in. Supposedly Jackson and Barry Jackson and Daniel Oyufise. I can't say his last name.
Oyefuse.
Yeah, Oyefuse has stated, they've mentioned defensive line as a position that could use more depth, and points out veteran defensive line Akeem Hicks remains available and has experience playing for defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. That would be kind of interesting. What do you think about bringing him in?
That's not a bad name. I mean, I don't know where he's at in his career. You watch a game with him in it and you hear his name a lot. I mean, he's definitely in the forefront of the action quite often.
That's true. So, that's kind of interesting. Some people have stated that we need tight ends. Tight ends have not looked really great, according to what I've read. But hey, it's OTAs. What do they know? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And how are they supposed to look great? They're a tight end. I mean,
that's actually true.
People act like that tight end is like it's the new it's the new diva position or something. I don't get it, man. Like,
yeah, and the most noted, what I've read is that
do they look big? Do they look strong? Are they catching the ball? That's all you need to know about a tight end.
Well, that's a good question, because what I've read is that our new 6th-round pickup, Higgins, and Tyler Croft both had drops in OTAs.
They probably hadn't had a ball thrown at them in a few months. You know what I mean?
And I'm okay with that, because if you think about it, Tyler Croft and Higgins are coming to a new system, new team. You know what I mean? They're brand new, especially Higgins. He definitely gets a pass because, he's new to the NFL, new to the team, new to the culture, new to the weather. There's like a lot of different factors.
Sure, and with the media hype, who all the eyes are on the new guys in the room. You know what I mean? And when you're coming in like that, yeah, you have that little extra. Look, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to say that I haven't been distracted and taken my eyes off the ball because people's eyes are on me. That does happen,
Mm-hmm.
But let him get in their groove. Let's get into camp. I mean, we've got a billion tight ends. Really, what is bringing one more going to do but muddy the waters even more?
Yeah, I don't really expect us to bring in another tight end.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
getting to that point where it's like the old saying: if you got two of a player, you don't have one.
this is true. With that also being said, let's go to a different position color. So, wide receiver, we've had this question mark, since the end of last season. Is wide receiver a need for the Miami Dolphins? Now, the Miami Dolphins brought in Chosen Anderson, so that or Chosen,
If
I don't know what he goes with by
if
now, but
if there's people in the league like that guy, that writer from Sports Illustrated yesterday, I forget his name.
mm-hmm.
If there's people in the league that are putting Cooper Kupp behind Jalen Waddle in the top 10 rankings, then yes, Miami seriously needs a wide receiver.
This is true. In addition to that, there's been people that have come out and stated that they see a certain wide receiver playing for Miami, and he wasn't just a nobody. He's a Super Bowl champion. Kelsey has come out and said that he sees DeAndre Hopkins playing for either Miami or the Bills. That was interesting. I didn't even expect us to be on his radar in the first place.
I didn't. I don't either, and I think that may be a power play because honestly, unless we force him in other words, he may be trying to play a game and we actually sign him, and it's like, oops, you know what I mean, on his part.
Yeah. But I mean, this
Because
came from Kelsey,
well,
though. I mean, it's I
well,
understand.
the reason I
Go ahead.
say that is because it's just like how we've had this discussion. I did a show on my personal channel about it, about really digging deep in the comparison between Kyler Murray and Tua.
Mm-hmm.
And if D Hop had a problem with Kyler, and that was really the root of the sourness in Arizona, then why would he want to play for Tua? You know what I mean? And that's not to throw shade on Tua, but the fact of it is, from a guy like his perspective, he looks at he can see, he can make that comparison. You know what I mean?
Oh
And I'm
yeah,
not saying
definitely.
he's right. I'm not saying he's right for leaving Kyler. I'm not saying he'd be right for not wanting to play with Tua. I'm just saying that why would it be different between Kyler and Tua? They're very, very similar quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. So that's something to think about it. I was thinking that maybe Kelsey's thinking that because of Aaron Rodgers being in our division now, that maybe that's kind of why we would consider bringing a guy in like Hopkins.
Well, we
Maybe that's
may end up
Aaron
having to
Rodgers.
do something on him just to cock block everybody else.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
that
we
might
can't
be.
have another. We can't have another. We cannot have a guy with his set of hands in our division if he's not on our team. That's just like, it's almost malpractice.
Yeah, this is true. Definitely true. Um, it was just kind of interesting. Other notes to be stated. There's rumors going around that Cedric Wilson came up as a trade candidate this offseason. The receiver said he wants to continue playing in Miami and told his agent to handle the situation. So Cedric Wilson does not want to leave regardless of what happened. The fact that he got signed to, probably be a big, piece in our puzzle, but then we went and got Tyreek after, you know what I mean? He still wants to be here. That was
So
kind of
was he waiting for something last year? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you get what I'm asking, Ollie? Like,
Oh, I
did
understand.
half our players know that last year was just not going to be the year, and we're all sitting here like idiot fans thinking we're actually going somewhere? You know,
This is
I
true.
mean,
This is true.
what I'm
I
being
think
sarcastic actually, because like what makes us think he's going to all of a sudden want to like perform? Like, okay, now this year is the year, I guess. I don't know.
Well, regardless of performing or not, I need him. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Regardless of whatever happened last season, I need him to perform. If you want to be here, perform. Show me you're worth the money that we've given you. You know what
Right.
I mean?
That's the exactly. That's the that's the juxtaposition I was pointing out. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know
I
what I mean?
understand.
Like, if
I
you want to
understand where
be
you're
here,
going.
show us you want to be here.
Yeah, that's how you do it. You do it. You put all your work and you show everything you have on the playing field, and that proves to me you want to be here.
Which, by the
And
way, to his credit, and this has been my take, not to get too off track, but this is my take on Jalen Ramsey. You look at his down year last year, and you can look at all the reasons the Rams shutting it down, basically, whatever else, and he still put what he needed to put on tape to get himself, a job at another team. So that's why I have confidence in Jalen Ramsey. I think they're the polar opposite of each other, where a guy's like, there's nothing happening here, but I'll be damned if I'm going to put some shitty tape down. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm. Definitely. That's I was thinking about this. Technically, if you really go back and look at it, what we paid to get Cedric Wilson here in comparison to what the average is for the people that are considered the higher paid, it's not very much money, but it does seem like a lot for nothing. You know what I mean? So, when you look at it in comparison to like a wide receiver that the Jacksonville Jaguars got from the Cardinals, if you remember, they paid him like $21 million a season. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk. Yeah. So when you compare it to that, it's like, oh, well, this is a good deal for us, right? But then you look at it, you're like, well, it's a good deal money wise, but on the field wise, I need it to be a good deal. You know what I mean? And that's where I need him to show us he wants to be here. Otherwise, then he won't be a trade candidate at that point.
Right.
So,
well, it's that Christian Kirk deal that got me so soured on Waddle, man. It's like, how are they going to pay a guy like that wide receiver one money, dude?
Yeah, but then again, it's Duval County and Jacksonville, bro. They overpay because it's Jacksonville. You know what I mean? At the time, if you think about it, they had a lot. How's the word? They had a lot of controversy and issues going into that team. So many years they have the number one pick and they have all these good players and they could never amount to anything. You know what I mean? Even they got Trevor Lawrence and what's his name? They had Urban Meyer as their coach, and look, it blew up in their face. You know what I mean? So you kind of the fact that it's a small market team, they kind of have to overpay for players. I didn't understand that at first because it's an NFL team. You know what I mean? What's the big deal? But then I was thinking about it. The bigger market teams are more attracted to players because it allows them to expand their brand a lot more. You understand? Miami is one of those destinations because in comparison, much larger city, a lot more stuff that teams can do. Players can do to further their brand and their franchise along as well. New York City, Los Angeles, for example. You know what I mean? There's Chicago, just to give you some examples, right? Baseball, it's the same thing. Even in basketball, the amount of money and the investment they put in their teams is based on their market. So there are disadvantages being in a small market team. And now I understand why Jacksonville at times are in the rumors of moving the team to a different state. Let it be there's been rumors they've wanted to move to Toronto. There was rumors at one point that Buffalo might get a second team. You know what I mean? I remember that year that rumor was flying around. So so there's a lot of different aspects that go into that. So I understand why they had to overpay, but still the amount of money they gave Christian Kirk, holy crap. That was printing your own money and handing it over. It was ridiculous. So
I mean, Heffel makes a good point. The guy did perform. I mean, yeah, I just don't think he performed to the level of like dump a bag on him like that. You know what I mean? But hey, well, we'll see. I mean, they're still retooling there in Jacksonville. Doug Peterson, I'm sure he's going to get incorporated a lot more, and maybe we will see the value in that deal. Going forward. If let's say Trevor and Kurt can get a nice relationship going on. You know what I mean? That could break out. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you weren't aware, Christian Kirk, he played for Arizona and he was very effective. He was definitely a wide receiver 2, in my opinion. But they paid him like a wide receiver 1, and I don't even think he was their leading receiver last season.
No, and the shame of it is the year he kind of broke out a little bit. The very next season is when they brought in D-Hop, and that shut Christian Kirk down right away.
Yeah. So he signed a 4-year, $72 million deal, $18 million per year average. He has $37 million.
Well, I guess if you look at what we're paying Tyreek, I guess that's sort of wide receiver 2 money. $18 million a year.
Yeah, it's really high. I'm going to tell you right now,
it's high, but look at the new paradigm we're moving into with Daniel Jones getting 45. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. 18. Yeah. It sounds like wide receiver 2 money almost. It does sound almost fair.
It is almost fair, but at the same time, in comparison, when you look at what all of the free agent experts in the media, the people that are in the know expected him to get, let alone what teams he could have went and played for, this was not the kind of money they expected.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. People had him more down in the 14 range.
Yeah.
But remember those same talking heads have Cooper Kupp behind Waddle in the top 10, man. I don't know what to tell you, Ollie.
Hey, I wonder what they're putting in the water over there, because
this ain't even really shade on Waddle. How do you have Cooper Kupp 8th in the top 10?
I don't know.
8th, bro. 8th. Cooper Kupp.
I have him in my top 5.
So. I don't think the man has performed less than 20 fantasy points ever. I mean, dude.
This season they took him off because of injury, I believe, right?
Well, sure, but I mean, dude, like Cooper Kupp, man, like really. Dude's already been to 2 Super Bowls, has 1 ring. I mean, arguably the best wide receiver in the league, and they have him at 8th.
Yeah, it's really really crazy. I can't really tell you.
Behind Jalen Waddle at 7th.
I don't even, personally. Do you have Jalen Waddle in your top 10?
No, I have him squarely at 12th.
That's where I have him.
And I think that's right about where the actual rankings, like if you look at the crunch the numbers and look at the objective rank, that's about where he's at.
Yeah, so I mean, it's I don't know. I can't really tell you. Like I said, the media is pulling strings to create content. Maybe they're trying to create content out of it.
It's total payola, man. They just wanted to hear Culler use the word payola. That's what it was.
That is correct.
Like, we'll get him,
I do agree with Concrete. Kupp number 3. I could see that. Like I said, he's definitely my top 5. My top 2 are definitely, it's going to include Tyreek and Justin Jefferson. Either 1 or 2. You can flip-flop them back and forth. Those are my top 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, this dude is making people forget about Steve Largent, bro. You know what I mean? Like, how do you have that at 8th?
I don't know. Can't really tell you. So, but there's a lot more wide receivers in this league now with this past draft color. You'd be surprised. That top 10 might change a lot this season.
I know. It's so tough because it's such a, especially in our league now, it's a valuable position, but it's also highly saturated with talent. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Again, I said arguably the best. Yeah, top 5 easily. And those receivers, who are they? Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Jefferson, you know, these guys that just don't drop the football.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Tyreek. He likes to drop it.
I want to address something real quick, but I want to look at the stats real quick. Just give me 1 second. Yes, Cooper Kupp only had 800 yards, but he also only played, I believe he only played so many games last season. I'm pulling that up right now. So he only played 9 games last season, where Waddle played a full season. So if we're basing these rankings off of just last season, okay, I kind of see it, but you know.
Yeah, but 9 games, over 800 yards. You know what that's the equivalent of? That would be the equivalent of if, like, you know, our guy that doesn't finish seasons, right? Mm-hmm. 13 games. Imagine if Tua threw 350 yards in all 13 of those games.
Yeah.
We'd be singing a different tune about injuries and about whether, who cares if he only plays 13 games if he's throwing 350 yards for all 13 of them, because we'll probably be 13-0 at the point he goes down. You know what I mean? So, but that's the same thing. Cooper Kupp played 9 games and at over 800 yards. That's literally the same thing as if Tua played 13 and threw for 350 every game. I'd be Tua's biggest fan if that was the case.
Yeah, I agree with you. So,
because then I would be like, hey, keep him healthy and we're good. You know what I mean? I mean, I get it. I know that I'm not trying to argue against Tua, so I know the Tuaneers are going to right away be like, Culler, no quarterback does that every game. Okay, I know. I'm just saying no wide receiver does that every game either, except for Cooper Kupp. I don't know. It's just a shame that, you know, I don't know. I think it's just, again, it's payola. That's what it is.
I understand. Culler, can you hold down the fort for me for 1 moment?
Oh, you know I can, because I'm going to rant even more about this, man.
Please do.
And to have him behind Jalen Waddle, man. I mean, it's like they're begging me to throw shade on my own team's players. I don't want to do this. I really don't. I love Jalen Waddle. I don't want to do this. But how are you going to tell me a guy that drops 3 footballs in a playoff game is ranked higher in a subjective ranking than Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp. Imagine what Cooper Kupp thinks right now. Like, what the hell else do I have to do? I mean, dang, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm harping on it too much, but we got to get our guy going, man. He's got to catch the ball. I think we're going to be fine. I think Jalen Waddle's going to be fine. Maybe they're thinking the same thing. Oh, well, if this and that and the other, then he's 7th over Cooper Kupp. I don't care if Jalen Waddle caught all 3 of those footballs. He still wouldn't be as good as Cooper Kupp. Like, really? Anyway. So this Dalvin Cook thing. When are we going to, I mean, are we going to keep doing this every single time a player comes available? You know, besides, let's just say all these people were right about Dalvin Cook. And so what, does that validate their inside sources? I mean, I can guess right too. It's like everybody does it every single time. They all, oh, this and that. And if they get lucky and they're right, then y'all are going to flock to him and be like, this the man right here. This the guy that's going to get all the views now because he was right. He must have those inside sources. Come on, man. There was people sat on YouTube all day, all afternoon yesterday. Oh, any minute now. Any minute now. Any minute now. And you got to love Level 2 Noob. You know, go check his Twitter out because he's just like, crickets chirping. Crickets chirping. What happened? Where's all the sauces? You know, I mean, come on, man. Do you think you don't see all these other guys out there scrambling to act like they were the first ones to scoop something? We all know who the scoop is going to be. It's going to be Schefter. It's going to be Breer. It's going to be Darlington. It's going to be all these guys. It ain't going to be it ain't going to be Omar Kelly. It ain't going to be, you know, insert favorite YouTuber here. It ain't going to be Culler. I don't have anybody calling me up from the Dolphins going, hey, man, let everybody know ahead of time. Come on, man. You know, who are these people that think that somebody's going to, from the organization, is going to call them and be like, hey, we thought we could give Schefter a call, but instead we called you, of all people. So you know, throw you a bone, make you look like what? Like you said something that was going to inevitably be news anyway. Either he's coming here or he's not. They ain't even released him. Sounds like every single other player that's done the same thing and their team didn't even release him. Next thing you know, day from now, maybe tonight on a Friday night news drop, we're going to hear, oh yeah, the Vikings re-signed Dalvin Cook, blah, 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 for exactly what he wanted to get out of them. I don't know. Tell me where I'm wrong, Ollie. I feel like I'm starting on the rant way too early this morning.
No, you're doing good, man. It's the weekend. Kick us off, bro.
Here I'm sitting on the throne looking at my news feed, and I see top 10 wide receiver rankings. I'm like, oh, this ought to be interesting. And I look at it, and there's Cooper Kupp at 8th, and I'm like, well, that's kind of odd. And then the very next name, 7th, Jalen Waddle. I'm like, I about laughed myself off the toilet, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, there are some don't mean to switch gears on you, Culler, but I just was reading some information. There are some rumors that Vikings want to try to trade Dalvin Cook because of the fact that the dead cap money, but it's highly unlikely when teams know that they can actually get him at a even, you know, without giving up any draft capital, just so you know.
Exactly. That's why we stack our wide receiver room. So it's like, hey, I mean, our running back room. So it's like, hey, we have no reason. We can sit here and outweight you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like two people staring at each other at a poker table.
Yeah, I was just reading some comments.
And we have no incentive to show our cards. None.
Yeah, I was just reading Michael K's comments, Culler, because he's saying that Dalvin Cook wants, not he wants, but the team wants to trade him to save on dead cap money.
Sure.
That is true. Obviously, you want to try to trade him because you don't want to just let him walk away for nothing.
Right. So you got the Vikings sitting across the table from everybody, and you know, expecting everybody to turn over their cards when they're the one that made the call. You know, they got to turn over theirs. Nobody has to do anything but sit here and wait and let them sweat.
Yeah. So everyone who wanted Cook will start to say we don't need him anyway, according to delusional Patriots fan. I say we need.
Oh, they already are, bro. They were already hedging that to begin with. I'm not saying I really care one way or another, but he's definitely coming here.
You know, I gotta address this a little bit because it's something. It's been happening a lot more, and I see this so much, Culler. I see people in this fan base that are constantly still trying to play Moneyball, right? And that's fine. I get it. But certain positions, year after year, had they been addressed properly and we just paid into it, we would not have had these problems and having to play Moneyball. Why is it okay for other teams to go ahead and get a Dalvin Cook or some big time player? You know what I mean? Why should we be playing Moneyball the whole time? You know, do you understand where I'm going with this? Like, it's not our money, first of all. You know,
absolutely.
So you know what I mean? And second of all, it is a need because if you obviously haven't shown that you can fix the offensive line in the however many years. And no, let me finish.
Sure.
And Dalvin Cook is a player that has played behind a shitty line up until last season. You know what I mean? He had one of the shittiest line and was very effective. Over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns in a season. You know what I'm saying? So, and he did that for 4 straight years. So, I don't know. I think if you can't fix the offensive line, go get the players that you can rely on to run behind the shitty offensive line. So then you don't have to worry about it.
Well,
I think it's easy.
Yep, and let's frame it this way, because there's actually a great recent example of precisely what you're talking about. Okay, Moneyball in the NFL. First of all, Moneyball in the NFL is a joke. This ain't baseball. Okay, and whoever and I don't know who he's with now, but there's this general manager. Okay, that was with the Browns.
Billy Bean? Not Billy Bean. No.
Well, it's the NFL's version of Billy Bean. Sanjay or Saya or Sajay or something or other. I forget his name.
You're talking about the guy from the Oakland A's?
No, that's Billy Bean. I'm talking about the football version of him. It's this guy the Browns hired him when they got Baker Mayfield and Hugh Jackson and all that, right?
Yeah.
And they were going to take the league by storm and play the whole Moneyball game just like in baseball and use nothing but analytics to build their team, right? And they pulled in Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. and they got somebody on defense in the draft. They got Chubb. And all this. And look what happened, bro. Hugh Jackson gets fired. They go winless. That general manager's gone. And what did they do? They went out and spent $300 million on a quarterback. And everybody said, oh, well, you can't do that because it's going to destroy your team and this and that and the other. Fair point. If that's the case, then what are the Cleveland Browns doing so correctly that they can sign Deshaun Watson, throw away a whole bunch of money like that, gut their team? By the way, they didn't gut their team. They still got Chubb. They still got most of their defense intact. They still got a decent wide receiver crew. And they picked up Amari Cooper, and now they're talking DeAndre Hopkins. How the hell can they afford all that when they just gave $300 million to Deshaun Watson? I mean, we can do this back and forth whenever it suits us to either say the salary cap is fake or the salary cap is real. Depends on whether you need it to be or not in your argument. You know what I mean? But I think it's fascinating that we're a year and a half removed from the Deshaun Watson signing, and the Browns are already putting the pieces back together.
Yeah. And don't forget, Delusional Patriots fan makes a good point. Don't forget all the draft picks and draft capital the Browns have had year after year.
Of course. And all they had to do was give up a bunch of them too for Deshaun Watson. Didn't they still draft a couple people this year?
They did.
Right. I mean, look, the whole point of doing all this is some teams do it and they get away with it. Why is it that the Miami Dolphins are the only ones that are going to be destroyed if we go all in on an elite quarterback? Why are we the only ones that are going to be negatively affected by that? Because we have a bunch of fans that are used to mediocrity, that are used to being thrifty with the money, that are used to playing Moneyball. And Moneyball does not work in the NFL, period.
And even if it does work, it may work for a certain system or let alone certain team.
It works to get you a certain win total every year, mathematically.
But where I'm going at with this, Culler, is that it only works with certain players that are on the board. If you have a Tom Brady at the helm, you can do that because he's going to effectively make those performing players play better.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You could argue the Patriots played Moneyball for 20 some years because they had Brady.
Yeah, they didn't want to pay people, bro. Even Brady was getting underpaid at some point. Go back and look at it. You know what I mean? He was taking less money because they want to continue to win. And they were able to do that because they had the elite quarterback to do that. Now, teams that don't have an elite quarterback, or let's say we don't have the greatest of all time quarterback, we have a lot more we have to do. That's why we may have to pay. But here's the other part of it, though. Think about this. Think about it this way. The question is, do we need Dalvin Cook? I'm gonna argue, yes, we do. Because when you look at towards the end of the season, there was 2 or 3 game stretch where we didn't have one of our starting quarterbacks. Raheem Mostert wasn't there. Wilson had to pick up the slack, and we ended up losing the game, and it wasn't really pretty. Wilson was out. Raheem Mostert was there. Still, we lost the game. You brought in an A-chain. That's great. Okay, so you added to your depth there. But let's say you bring in a Dalvin Cook. Now you can put Dalvin Cook in the receiving game, put A-chain in the receiving game, and you can have situations where you have Raheem Mostert and Dalvin Cook on the field, or Raheem Mostert and A-chain, or A-chain and Dalvin Cook. It's going to force your defenses, the defenses you're going up against, to respect your running game. They are going to respect the shit out of it, which opens up and unlocks your Tyreek Hill, your Jalen Waddle, or your Chosen, or Barrios, or the guy that you like, Culler. I can't think of his name off the top of my head for whatever reason. All the wide receivers that we have, it unlocks them because they're going to have to stack up in the box because you don't know what the hell the Dolphins are going to do. That's the reality of it. You're going to split that defense in half, so where you think they have everything covered, they really only have half of it covered. That's my opinion. That's why you go get Dalvin Cook.
And even here's the thing, here's the catch. Even when you do have everybody covered, you're still mismatched in speed.
Yeah. And here's the other part of it too. How many times are we going to really sit here, another team go ahead and get the player we wanted, a big time player like they wanted, and they end up beating us anyway? Well, how long are we going to have to sit here and watch that happen year after year? You know what I mean? I don't understand that. That's my argument.
It's the same with D-Hop. I mean, you could argue that we got the discount D-Hop and Chosen.
Let's see. Mark is saying Dolphins have money issues because they had to pay big dollars for players to cover for failed draft choices. Big dollars. So we had to pay big money to who did we have to pay big money to? Tyreek Hill? Was there failed draft choices in at wide receiver position? No. The offensive line, we still haven't really paid buku money. Teron Armstead got paid, but he didn't get paid as much as what people expected. I want to say it was like 15 million or something like that per season.
And besides, where did this narrative come in that, and I get it, I know that nobody wants to be wrong about their draft picks, but that's only to a certain point. I mean, they're just draft picks. It is much more excusable to me to say, oh, we haven't even drafted a single player that's worked out in 4 years, let's say. I can excuse that much more than, oh, because we failed at that draft pick, we're going to go splurge on a guy that really isn't much better than that draft pick was.
Yeah, I mean, technically, when you make an argument that you're saying that teams had to splurge money on a certain position because they have their failed draft picks, you're really calling out every team in the NFL.
Of course. Well, but not all of them. Not all of them. Look at the 49ers. They're already off of Trey Lance. They've made it clear they're off of him. They don't care what anybody thinks about it. Arizona with Josh Rosen. They were off of him on day one. Nobody cared. They didn't care what anybody thought about it.
Yeah, this is true.
Their fans aren't picketing their building because they failed in draft picks. I don't even think they fired their GM.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about it. There's been several draft picks they've moved off of pretty quickly, specifically on their defensive line and in linebacking situation. I remember there was like 1 or 2 of them that they drafted in the first round, and as soon as their rookie contract were up, they're like, well, bye, we don't need you. You know what I mean? They don't really they're not afraid to move on, essentially.
Right.
Um,
Okay, Mark. So it was to cover the failure to draft Justin Jefferson or Higgins. See, now you're going from drafting the wrong guy to failure to draft the right guy. Well, who can do that? I mean, you can't know. That's like, okay, so let's just hire Mark because Mark can see the future. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody was saying there was leaps and bounds difference between Higgins, Jefferson, and Waddle, or Higgins, Jefferson, and whoever we took instead of getting them, which would have been Jalen Phillips or somebody, or Javon Holland or somebody like that. I mean, if we get one of those other guys and we're still 9-8, are we going, well, you should have got Javon Holland because you needed to have better secondary to get past 9-8. Then we would be saying, oh, well, the wrong move to get Jefferson there. You should have got Holland or whoever. I mean, it would just be reversed.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of it is we're losing. It don't have to do with failure to draft the right guys. That's one piece of it. But that you all act like we're losing because we're not successful in the draft. That's a false narrative put out by Buffalo fans, like Mark. We're not failing because we missed on a few draft picks. If failing on a few draft picks meant failure in the NFL, then there'd be only one good team every year. There'd be no competitors for that team. There would be no parity. People miss on draft picks every single look. I've gone over them. I've looked at the last couple drafts all the way back, good 10 years. And you look at the top 20 draft picks in the NFL, and these are names we haven't even said in years. They're just nobodies that went nowhere. Big names at the time.
And that's the other thing, Mark. If you go back and look at it, it's already come out that the Miami wanted to actually draft Brandon Ayuk at the end of that first round. It wasn't supposed to be Noah. Noah was just the second choice because of our pick getting taken. So it's not really a failed if we planned on addressing
right. And who's to say Brandon Ayuk does anything better or worse at another team?
That's true.
I mean, it's San Francisco. They got a whole different program going on out there, just like every other team. Where was Christian Kirk last year with the Jags? Got his money. Did you hear his name all year?
Anyway.
I mean, I don't know. I just tired of buying this narrative. And if that's the case, then Chris Greer's just not a good GM. If he's worried about what everybody thinks about a draft pick and he's holding on to these guys because he wants to be right about them, I mean, then obviously he's betting on himself. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
But it certainly ain't the reason we're 9-8.
Yep.
We're 9-8 because we can't hire a coach and stick with him for more than 2 years, 3 years. That's why we're 9-8. We're 9-8 because we refuse to focus our resources on a top quarterback and pick up the pieces afterwards. We're 9-8 because we're still trying to build this super team that we can plug in eventually this quarterback that'll fall out of the sky or win without one. Hey, whatever. I'll still root for it. Go Miami.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality. It doesn't matter who our quarterback is or what players we have. I'm still going to root for them.
Yeah,
regardless.
I mean, but it ain't got nothing to do with failed draft picks.
No. I honestly think even if we hit on certain draft picks, and even let's say those positions still got hit, I still think Tyreek Hill would have come here regardless.
Yeah, and we'd still be 9-8 for the same reasons.
Yeah, so you know.
I mean, all you're doing is, Mark, and I'm not trying to single out Mark, but I'm just trying to say all you're really doing, Mark, is moving the same bad pieces around. Whether you get him from the draft or whether you get him 3 years later from another team, it's still the same guy.
Yeah.
If we would have drafted Bradley Chubb, would it be any different? Like, would the fan, you know what I mean? Like, he still didn't perform the way the fans wanted him to last year.
Mm-hmm. Trying to find out if there's any up-to-date news, Culler.
And another thing we seem to not be able to do, and Mike McDaniel alluded to it in his presser the other day, as if it was a company policy, that we don't just put players out on the field, even if they are ready. We've got some kind of system where we're trying to make men or whatever, instead of just putting the guys out there and performing and seeing, where they're at. Like, take, for instance, a guy like Pacheco out in Kansas City. They wasted no time getting him on the field. None. Tyreek Hill, same thing. They wasted no time getting him on the field. Ramondre Stevenson, another example. Above average running back. I'm not trying to say he's a barn burner, but the Patriots, Belichick saw, hey, this guy's a good running back. He's the best on my team. Put him out there. I don't care if he's a rookie. Get him on the field. Where's Cameron Good? Where's Channing Tindall? I mean, you're not going to tell me that a guy that plays a linebacker that does nothing but tackle and his whole college career blows up lines of scrimmage against good teams, yet they see something in camp that makes him a bust and we can't even put him on the field? I'd be, as bad as our tackling was last year, I'd have been rolling out Cameron Good. I'd have been rolling out every rookie linebacker we got. What's the difference? And maybe that's a failure on Boyer's part, but it's also a failure on McDaniel not to force the issue. Unless, of course, this guy Cameron Good, he gets out to camp and he doesn't even know how to put his helmet on. Who knew? I mean, come on, man. They can't be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you even know if they're that bad? That's all we do, bro. Our whole season is training camp every freaking year, bro. And our management decides, well, this player's bad, so we suck. And we're not even going to get the people the tools out on the field. We're not even pulling the tools out of our toolbox. But yeah, you know what the answer to me is, right? Oh, Culler, they know what they're doing. They're professional freaking talent evaluators and blah, 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 yakety schmackety. Yeah, well, all I know is all I have to go by is college tape, and that's their fault. But the college tape shows that this dude is in the backfield quite a bit. I don't know why he can't hunt in the NFL. Other than we've got some kind of rookie program that doesn't allow rookies to be on the field because of life issues? I wish we would start playing football and stop trying to create whatever they think we're trying to create. Leaders of men or whatever. It's such nonsense, man. That's what teams that suck all the time claim they're doing. Oh, well, we're all about building men here, not good football teams. Yeah, right. It's because you can't build a good football team.
Yep, I understand, Culler.
Well, let me rephrase that. We can build one. We just can't field one.
Yeah, that's something to be said there. I mean,
well, I haven't looked at the numbers, but how many snaps did Cameron Good get last year?
Oh, I don't want to say not very many.
I don't even. I mean, I never saw his name on the field once. Not saying he didn't get on the field, but then you reconcile that with Tanner Connor in at tight end on a crucial drive, and people saying to me, "Well, they got to get him in to know what they got." Somehow that only applies to Tanner Connor when we have a third string rookie quarterback in.
Yeah, you could say
that's
that
not
about
how you win football games. That is not how you coach to win. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it's purposeful or incompetence. I don't know. But I do know this. That is not how you win football games. Just not.
I think I need some of your coffee there, Culler. You've been on a roll today.
I know. I got a lot of energy built up. My foot's hurting. I'm trying to get my mind off of it.
I got you. Make sure everyone hits the like button, everybody. This is Top of the Tailgate. We're talking, team needs, Dalvin Cook, what we could do, why we need him, why we don't need him. We talked a lot today so far. But while you're hanging out with us, check out some of our other content. Check out the Finn's Tailgate Show with El Capitan. Check out Coffee and a Cup of Culler. Culler, are you going with your coffee today or no?
Probably not. I'm probably going to go a little later today. I don't have any duties, but I got to do some paperwork online that I've been neglecting.
I got you. So check out Culler and a Cup of Coffee later today.
I'm going to try to do some kind of like a little preliminary action before Shake goes on with his drive time. It's Friday, so I'm guessing don't mean to speak for Shake Money, but being Friday, he usually does a drive time on Friday. He does it every day, but usually I can't imagine Friday would be the day he takes off. So, because Friday is Friday and time to get the weekend on. You know what I mean? So I'm sure there'll be a drive time show. I'm going to try to do something this afternoon. What I wanted to really do was do a breakdown on Fangio's track record, his pathway to Miami, what got him here, what he's experienced on the way, and what he's brought to other teams that he's been with on the way. I want to go through the whole thing with the audience together with me so we all can do the deep dive together. That way there's no narrative building or none of that. I can show you what I see, how I look at people, how I research the history of somebody, and y'all can research it with me and decide for yourselves what you think about the guy. That's kind of how I want to bring it.
There you go. So check out a Cup of Coffee and Culler. He's going later today, talking Vic Fangio and the path to Miami. So rock and roll with that. You can also check out me and the morning show. You can also check out some of my previous stuff with Broken Takes, which will start back up. Probably, if not next week, it'll be the week after. We're going to start that back up and get recording again. Also, we'll have Late Night XL coming back at the beginning of the preseason. So keep an eye out for that. Also, you can check out the Rabid Dolphin. And actually, before I do that, I'm sorry. Shout out to DTA. I know you haven't been around, bro, but we're waiting for you when you get back to get going here. So check out some of DTA.
Keeping a room lit, man. Keeping your room lit.
That's right. Check out Lewis and the Rabid Dolphin in some of his shows. And he usually goes on with Shake. So and shout out to Shake Money with Drive Time and all this stuff that Shake Money does on the weekend. You can also check out Shake in the Blender, I think it's called. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, in the blender over at Larry K's Fanatics Fury channel.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you like the channel, make sure you hit like and subscribe. You can become a member. Shout out to our members. We have 3 different memberships: Amigos, Familia, MVP. Check that out. It's really inexpensive, but you get access to emoji. You get access to recorded content in advance, certain notifications, a lot of other stuff that comes along with that. So check it out. One
other thing, Ali, while we're still on the content portion, I wanted to give a exclusive shout out. This is out of my own free will because I want to prop up a fellow YouTuber who has shown me respect. So we're going to reciprocate that respect with a free plug. And y'all make sure the guy's been going every morning just about at 10 o'clock, chugging along. Not a lot of viewers, but because a lot of people don't know yet, and he's doing his diligence. That's Dolphins Thirsty. You can check out Dolphins Thirsty channel. He's always thirsty, and he's been going at 10 o'clock every morning. So go ahead and make sure you check out Dolphins Thirsty channel. He's part of the Fins Talk Network and all that, Dolphins Talk Network. But he's got his own channel, and he's been doing a show just about every morning at 10 o'clock for like the last couple months. And they were kind enough to, he's been kind enough to reach out to me, chop it up on his show and all that. So make sure you all get in over to Dolphins Thirsty, give him a subscribe, and check him out a little later on this morning.
Definitely. I just subscribed actually. So check out Dolphins Thirsty. He has some good content and stuff.
Really good, down to earth dude, and I do believe he is in the South Florida area, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome.
Another local.
Well, while you're hanging out, checking out content, you can, if you'd like to donate to the channel, help the channel out. We accept Cash App or Venmo. We also accept super stickers and super chats. But also in the descriptions, check out our affiliates.
New seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics, officially licensed everything.
That's right. Fanatics officially licensed everything, Culler. They have pretty much everything and anything you can think of in regards to memorabilia, any type of team swag, the draft hats like the one I'm wearing, all that kind of stuff. They always have deals going on. They always have, free expedited shipping or 20% off or some type of deal going on. So definitely check them out. If you use the link below, it definitely helps out the channel. We really appreciate it. That also being said, make sure that you check out some of our other affiliates, such as Backroom Collections. Backroom Collections is pretty dope. They have all different types of canvases and different types of artwork that is related to Miami Dolphins. They have some really cool stuff that you can hang on the wall. Let it be your office, place of business, bedroom. Doesn't matter where it is. It's pretty dope stuff. I actually, I'm going to be ordering stuff from them soon to put in my man cave, so I cannot wait for that. They also have different accessories for like the mini helmets that people collect and have signed, whatnot. So definitely check them out. You can use code TFTG at checkout to save 10% off your order.
Here's the real question, though, Ali. Do they have anything for the she sheds? I mean, we talk about the man caves all the time. What about the she sheds?
Well, Culler, they actually do have something for your she shed. They do custom work, and you can have your she, sports vanilla put in your she shed. So you can definitely put that in your she shed.
Right on.
Yeah. So Culler, check out Culler's color commentary coming to you to your she shed soon. He'll be showing off his she shed. Just messing with you, Culler. So check out Doobie Energy Drink. They got some really cool supplements over there. It's unlike other supplements where you get the jittering or crashing and stuff. They have certain vitamins and minerals that affect the brain positively. Let it be through, like focus and concentration and stuff like that. You don't have any of the artificial stuff that is really that you put in your body that's really bad and stuff. So definitely check out their stuff. They got some cool supplements. Also check out Shake Money's review on that. He had a review that he's done. I haven't ordered anything from them yet. I have to. Oh, Culler. So it's top of the tailgate, and we are getting rolling here. We've talked about Dalvin Cook. I still haven't gotten any news yet. We still haven't signed Dalvin Cook or traded.
I know it's 7:30. We're actually rolling towards the bottom of the tailgate now.
Yeah, we definitely are. And currently, if you didn't know, as of, let me see here. As of 7:22, it's currently 78 degrees, partly cloudy, high of 84 currently in Miami. We have about a 18% chance of rain this afternoon, and it increases to about 24%. But at nighttime, overnight, it's supposed to get about 34% chance of rain and thunderstorms. So it looks like during the night we may get some of those showers and stuff that they expected.
Yep, and
Currently,
that morning ugliness has cleared out, and there is no wind today. It is going to be a hot one, so make sure you guys are keeping hydrated. Keep your sunscreen on.
81% humidity, correct.
Yep.
Yep.
Make sure you're putting sunscreen on the arm that hangs out the window. Otherwise, you look like a Publix cookie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's been quite a few traffic accidents today, so please be careful. Already starting at 4:36 a.m., there's been multiple reports of accidents. About 10 different reports today. Most recently at 104th Avenue and Northwest 41st Street. So please be careful. Please be careful on the road. I know it's the beginning of the weekend. Everybody wants to get out. Summer is here. You want to go to Orlando, Disney, or wherever you want to go, South Beach. Please be careful. We know we want to get there, but just get there safely.
Keep a safe distance. Stay off your phone. Don't plow into the back of the person in front of you. And as always, if you're in the greater Miami area, whichever way you're going, go the other way.
Color's funny. Anyway, I'm looking for up-to-date news if there are any.
Oh, and use your right-hand blinker. It is the easiest, most courteous thing to do, and it is so aggravating when you don't. So just flip it. Just flip it.
Use all of your both blinkers. Both blinkers. You don't just use one. Use both. And make sure your lights are working in your brake lights. I can't tell you how many times I almost rear-ended somebody yesterday because they don't have brake lights. So that would be very courteous as well.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. And turn off your bright lights at night. You know how many people drive around with their bright lights on? It's just amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Molly Mall, our resident cowboy.
Yeah, who do we have in the chat? Shout out to them.
Well, hit that super chat for me real quick. I can't read it.
So shout out to Molly Mall. Thank you for the $5 donation. Really appreciate the early morning live stream, even though I'm not a Dolphin fan. That is awesome. See, mutual respect. We know he's a Dallas Cowboy fan. I have respect for you, man. Thank you for coming in and showing your appreciation. I really appreciate that.
Yep, and appreciate it too, because it's guys like you get the word out and all that. And look, we're already getting more of our regular show up. That more people that start to realize we're doing it. I see 72 undefeated in there. I see word of mouth. I see obviously Mark G, Shake Money, Dud Fins, Adam Sadowski. I mean, we got a whole bunch of guys already in here. More people realize we're doing it every morning. More people are going to throw us on in the background while they're getting their clothes on and whatever else, I mean, some people don't even listen to anything because they didn't think anything was there. And of course, some people are like, I just ain't ready for color yet. And they just ain't turned us on. I get it. You know what I mean? But shout out to all 20 or 30 of you watching right now. We appreciate you. It's early morning. We know it. But season comes along, we're going to be carrying you every morning, getting you nice and woke up for Dolphins. And we're going to try to keep you in the know, break stuff as early as we can, as soon as we know it. And let's face it, we're a lot more fun to hang out with than Joe Rose. No offense to Joe Rose, but he's literally the only the only South Florida sports content on that early in the morning. Mm-hmm. So we're just trying to give an alternative.
So, see Lewis up in the chat. What's up, Lewis? Good morning, sir.
Oh yeah, didn't mean to leave Lewis out. He came in at the last second there. B2.
By the way, also. Lewis, Shake Money, El Capitan. Anytime you guys want to come up during the morning show, you're more than welcome to come on up and talk with us. So definitely.
Yep. Just make sure you got a helicopter sound in the background so we can use you as our traffic report.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Feel free, guys, that are part of the team, because if you might be able to see something we can't see up in your neck of the woods. I know Lewis is over on the west side, Shake as well, and then you got Capitan's up in the north area. We get the whole state covered for traffic, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what does Molly Mall care about Miami traffic, right?
100%. What do they care?
Well, once we get a Dolphin fan up here from Texas, we'll be able to give a report from over there. Our only resident Dolphin fan from Texas doesn't like Florida, so we're not going to be able to get that for y'all unless Estefan wants to do it.
It's like no news this morning, Culler.
Oh, it's not too bad. What do you mean news? Did you hear the news? They freaking ranked Cooper Kupp behind Jalen Waddle, man.
God, nowhere to go. Oh man, that's some funny stuff. Actually,
the news is there's no news.
Yeah, that is true. That is the new news.
The news cycle has been cooked, pun intended.
So here is a question for you, Culler.
Yeah, Marino's goat. Yeah, that's who I was talking about. He's on record. He don't like Florida. The only thing he likes about Florida is the Miami Dolphins.
So what do you think the over-under is? Let's actually talk about over-unders about certain players. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah. Real quick before you do, I will say, yeah, EM, if you're out there listening this early, you're more than welcome to come up and give us the Dallas-Fort Worth traffic report, man. By all means.
So let's actually talk about certain positions and the over-under of what we expect them to perform this coming up season. Okay, what we project, or a guesstimate, if you want to call it that.
That sounds fun.
So, and I don't know what the exact numbers are or what the actual over-under is. We're talking what our predictions are.
We're playing odds maker.
Yeah. So I saw something that got posted by PFF on Twitter. Justin Herbert, the over-under on passing yards for 4,550 yards. What do you think the over-under is on that?
Whether I think it's over or under, or what my over-under is?
No, like, do you think he's going to do over or under it?
Under.
You think under? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him throwing for about 4,000 yards. Not more than that, though. I'm going to say it's about 4,000. Maybe 4,100. That's what I'm going to give him.
Yep, that's fair. Yeah, 45 is right there. If that's where they put their over-under, they got some decent mathematicians. That's about right, and I would go under.
I think part of it, they've added some offensive weapons recently.
Right, but aren't they kind of starting to lose a little steam in the running game area with Eckler getting older?
Yeah, Eckler wants a new deal. I don't know. I really don't know if they're
Mike Williams has been on and off with injuries,
Mm-hmm. That's true. Mike Williams did have a breakout season. I don't want to say it was last year, but the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got an over from Michael K. We got an under from Duke, over from Lewis, and we got an over from Mark and V21. So the consensus so far in the chat is over.
Over. Okay. Interesting.
All right.
I have him under. Here's a question. How many are you over or under 26 interceptions?
Under.
Under? Okay.
How many did he throw last year?
That's a good question.
Because 26 interceptions is a lot, even for a bad quarterback, dude.
Yeah, I know. 1 second. I'm going to tell you in a second.
Unless you're Jameis Winston.
Okay, so he only had 10 interceptions last year.
Yeah,
so let's put it this way. I'll change this. I think 26 is a lot. You're right. I think I was thinking touchdowns at the same time. So let's start with touchdowns. Are you over or under on the touchdowns?
Oh, that's the 26 number?
Yes, because he had
Oh,
25 last season.
I could see over, sure.
Over. Okay, you're over. I'm over. I think he'll have more touchdowns, especially having a newer weapons around him. I think that's
Now, this is barring injury, of course. Obviously anybody can get injured for half the year.
Interceptions. He had 10 interceptions. Is he over or under? I'm going over.
I'm going to say over on that too. I think more defenses are going to start to figure him out and probably jump that number up a little bit.
Well, I think with the newer additions to the team, which has primarily been on the wide receiver portion of the ball, he's going to throw a lot more, in my opinion. I think that's what they're gearing up for. And when you throw a lot more, I think you're going to have a lot more chance of interception. That's how I'm premising the over.
Yep, you're going to have and even if you're talking about incidental interceptions, you're going to have more chances of a ball getting tipped into the other team's hands. Stuff like that. It's just inherently the potential goes up.
So let's switch gears to our own quarterback. Do you think? Are you over or under on 4,000 yards?
Now again, we're talking barring injury.
Let's say he's healthy the whole season.
Yeah, and even if not, you could look at pace. So it doesn't matter. Let's just imagine full season. Yeah, I'd be over on that. On 4,000?
Yeah, 4,000.
Oh, yeah, easily over.
Easily over. I'm over as well.
Yeah, because in this new paradigm with 17 games and the passing orientation, 4,000 is actually kind of a low number now, man. Or not a low number. It's more of an average expectation if you think about it.
What's up, Mudbone? Welcome to the chat. Yeah, I think he's over. What about
because even Tua, was on pace for over 4,000. If you look at his numbers, forget the injuries and all that. Even with the bad games, he would have still gone over 4,000.
He had 25 touchdowns, the exact amount of touchdowns that Herbert had. What do you think? Over or under?
I'm going to have to go over on that because that's one of the areas that Mike McDaniel has to see that we need improvement on is actual scoring.
What about interceptions?
What's the number?
He had 8 this past season.
I would say probably over, but barely. I mean, he does take care of the football fairly well.
I mean, in comparison to other quarterbacks, I mean, he had less interceptions than.
Yeah, and if you look at his interception percentage, it's really low per 100 throws. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean,
and that's because there's a lot of quick action. There's a lot of get the ball out to hey, there is something to be said for a lot of dropped interceptions. So there's that too. And obviously, that's not something to throw shade on him about. If people are having a problem intercepting his ball, then hey, give him credit for that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I honestly think having that first year under his belt now, I think he's going to be more efficient in this offense. Personally, he's going to know more of the playbook. I expect him to perform more efficiently than he did even last year. Even though last year the start of it was remarkable, to be honest. So,
I would like to expect that against some better competition too. I don't see any reason that things that happened in the bigger games last year couldn't be corrected as well as anything else. I mean, that's another hump he's got to get over, and I don't see any reason he couldn't.
Yeah, that's true. I think we're going to see a lot more improvement there. So I'm going to go over on the yards, over on the touchdowns. I'm going to stay pat. I actually think he's only going to have 8 interceptions.
You're going to hold? You're holding?
I'm going to hold on the interceptions. I think it's exactly for the
See,
whole
I thought this
season.
was
It's gonna
buy or
be
sell, man. I didn't know we had hold, man.
well, no, what I'm saying is like it could be lower. There's definitely a chance. I mean, if he
Well,
throws
8
less than eight,
interceptions is I mean, that's phenomenal in and of itself, bro. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
I think it was only Aaron Rodgers. I want to say had a season where he threw only like 3. I want to
right,
say.
right. And how many more games did he have left to play? I mean, 4. I mean, how many more interceptions could he have possibly gotten on that total of 8? What, 10, 12? I
Yeah,
mean, that's
that's
still a low number.
yeah. The MVP year, I want to say he only had like 4 or 5 interceptions. So if he's only throwing 4 or 5 interceptions, I'm gonna say it's like an MVP type of run. So that actually, in my opinion, is very possible.
Mhm.
Now let's actually look at one of our rivals, Josh Allen. So Josh Allen had, according to his stats, pull that up real quick. He had 4,200 yards, about 4,283 yards last season. Are you over or under?
I'm going to actually go under on that.
I am too. I am going to go under.
I think we're heading to we're going to be looking at possibly a complete implosion in Buffalo this year.
I don't want to say complete implosion. What I will say though is that I do think that teams are going to have them scouted out a little bit better now. They really
Well,
did not.
and look, I know it sounds like I'm being honkish here, but at the same time, for 4,100, 4,200 yards, obviously if they're having issues in the passing, if he runs more, that could cause that.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, if he runs more, then you may. That's where you might see less yardage for passing. You're
mhm.
absolutely right. So we're not saying he's going to have an implosion, let's say, but
The
I actually,
defenses he's facing are going to improve. I mean, if you look at, let's say that we get the results out of what we've done on defense on paper. Let's say we get those results.
mhm.
The Jets are getting their results. Patriots always still have a stout defense. That's you know, I mean that's getting beat up quite a bit in 6 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, two out of the other 3 rivals in your division have gotten better defensively. We have gotten better defensively. We
Right.
have Jalen Ramsey, we have Vic Fangio, who can really put the whole team together. We have
Yep.
upcoming players that really made a name for themselves. Cater Kahu, for example. You know what I mean? You have players that were injured last season that didn't play against you that are coming back now, and as long as they stay healthy, because we're talking barring injuries for all of this, they're going to be better.
Yep.
So
I mean,
that
they got to
means,
roll through the AFC West just like we do. They got to
Mhm.
play the Eagles just like we do.
Yeah.
I mean,
So and those teams have gotten better. You know what I mean? So there's a good chance that we may not see a 4,200 yard season. It could very well be
right, and
4,000 yards.
that could be
Yeah.
supplemented by more running yardage, sure, but
Oh, yeah.
Vegas don't care why if my bet's right. You know what I mean? So I'll
Yeah.
say under.
35 touchdowns was the number last season. Over or under?
Mm, that's almost a hold right there.
You're going to stay pat? 35?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to because it's complete flip a coin, 34 or 36. You know what I mean?
I'm going to say less than 35 touchdowns. That'd be passing touchdowns, actually. But just to clarify, I think it's going to be less than 35. I think I could see him getting 30, maybe 32, but it's not going to be more than 35. So here's a good one. Interceptions, Color. 14 interceptions.
I'm going over on that.
Over. Okay. 14 interceptions.
Because as things start to implode, he's gonna start getting sloppy.
Because I honestly feel our secondary has gotten better, I'm going to go over as well. I think he's going to have more than a
And
14
he still has to contend with Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner, definitely. Their secondary has gotten better. So, yeah, I think the pressure is going to be on the Buffalo Bills, to be honest.
Mark's just reeling right now. He's like, can't believe these guys. They're freaking stupid. Non-football knowledge, man.
Well, Mark, that's your opinion. Just because you say you have knowledge doesn't mean you have knowledge. Just saying.
Hey, knowledge is a subset of belief.
Here's a good one. Who's going to have more rushing yards? Miami or Buffalo? Based on the current rosters as we sit, without Dalvin Cook going to either team or anything.
I think we'll have more rushing yards.
All right. What about you in the chat? Everybody in the chat. Buffalo or Miami? Who has more rushing yards? Based on the current roster. Dud Fins, I already know you're picking Buffalo, obviously. Actually, it's kind of funny. Harris has a good point. Now that Trent Sherfield is a weapon, I bet Mark laughed at his skill set last year. I bet he did. I bet you had something to say.
Now, I can see why Mark's saying what he's saying, but I could see how maybe one of their running backs, maybe be it Singletary or Cook or whoever, one of their running backs would probably have more yardage than our top running back. But as a room in the whole on the season, Miami Dolphins rushing yardage is going to be more than the Buffalo Bills rushing yardage.
Yeah, we're talking about as a whole. Who's going to rush more?
Yeah, individually, they'll probably have a top rusher over us, but as a room, no. And
so last season,
if we do pick up Dalvin and we run our offense through him, then that's all she wrote.
Last season, we had 1,686 rushing yards for the whole season. Let's see what Buffalo had. Buffalo had 2,232 yards.
And knock off 800 for the quarterback.
He had 762. You're absolutely right. That is absolutely correct. Let me see who all rushed. So our top rusher was Raheem Mostert. Theirs was Singletary. Yeah, beyond that, we didn't rush very much, man. In comparison, when you look at the amount of times that we ran. That's interesting.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want to look at per rush there. You want to look at per game.
Yeah, they had two players that specifically ran over 100 times. Singletary ran for 177 carries. Josh Allen ran for 124. And then you had James Cook with 89 carries. So they had 430 carries total. Miami had 390 carries. Wow. So their next highest rusher had 17 carries, right? That was almost as many as Skylar Thompson had.
That's what I mean. When you're looking at the lion's share of that yardage is only shared between one or two backs.
Yeah. I think
and a lesser sample size.
Absolutely correct. I really feel that we need to really use Savon Ahmed more. I think we need to use him more, to be honest. Chase Edmonds kind of didn't help our rushing game either last season. Trying to see who else ran. Jalen Waddle had a few runs. That's something we didn't do very much, Culler, last season. Jet sweeps. I want to see more jet sweeps. We have this.
It's amazing, too, because you were at camp. I mean, you saw how many times Tyreek took the corner on our defense, man, on a jet sweep. It's too easy.
Yeah, and plus if you have 3 players that can run 20, actually 4 players that can run 23 miles per hour, why wouldn't you do that more of that? Why wouldn't you use that to your advantage? I'm not saying you have to do it every play, but at least do it once or twice a game. You know what I mean? And you didn't
Right.
see that very often at all. They faked it almost most of the season. Towards the end, we finally did it against the Jets, which was in the last game of the season. That's when we actually started doing it a little bit more. So I don't know.
So really quick, here's the meat and potatoes. Well, I guess it's actually here's where the real story. So I will say that overall, and it's probably because of the quarterback running. It's hard to filter that out of these averages. But the Buffalo Bills did have a higher yards per game at 139.5 compared to Miami's 99.2. But I mean, it's easy to see that those 40 yards extra per game are Josh Allen running. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
you take Josh Allen's running away, and we're almost identical in rushing performance. Or I should say rushing production.
I agree with that. I think if you take him out of the equation, I think it's pretty much the same. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Here's a good question. Due to the fact that we hired Vic Fangio as our defensive coordinator, which team is going to have more turnovers on the defensive side, Buffalo or Miami?
Us, easily.
I'm going to go with us. Vic Fangio predicates his defenses. Every team he's ever coached defense, or any team he was a head coach for, their defense was like a turnover machine. His whole defense is predicating on creating the turnovers. So
he's been on 2 different squads that were number 1 in turnovers and defensive scoring.
I want to say it's Charles Harris, I think, is the corner he had. I could be wrong about the name. I'm sorry. There was a corner he had with Chicago, right? And he had this maneuver they used to call the peanut punch. You ever heard of that, Color? Where he would punch the ball out of the receiver's hands. And he had it like, he would do it like all the time. Like he was able to get away with it every time and create these turnovers. I expect to see Miami doing whatever it takes to create those turnovers, which we were lacking last season. Last season I think was a down year both for Xavier Howard, our safeties. I think the turnover game, you'll see that kick up, and we'll see our defense get off the field a lot more often. And color commentary on the move, huh? Color, or is this the real Color? No, maybe not. Yeah, fuck shit money. I agree with color commentary. F the Bills. But yeah, I do expect Miami to have more turnovers. Sacks is a good question. Will sacks increase this season, Color? Will we have more or less sacks than we did last season?
That's an easy more for me too.
Can you explain why, or what's you're predicating your thought on?
Because I expect, for the same reason Fangio sees more turnovers, I expect to see more coverage sacks. The way we built our secondary, the way he utilizes a secondary, is actually meant to create coverage sacks. So those couple times you see, and this is one of the things we hear a lot about a guy like Jalen Phillips, is that, oh, he's almost there so many times. Oh, he's a fingertip away, and the quarterback leaks out. That's a thing of the past when you got better secondary. I mean, that would be a coverage sack.
I think, in my opinion, and it's going to differ from yours, Color, and you can yell at me if you want, and people can say what they want, but I might get some heat from this. I kind of think that Vic Fangio coming to Miami is going to be a two-phase process. And the first phase is improving the secondary, which they've already done. With all the additions that we brought in, with Jalen Ramsey, all the re-signings that we did with our secondary and everything, and bringing in a Cam Smith and everything from the draft, I think that's the first phase. The second phase you're not going to see till next season, which is addressing that defensive line more. I think it's going to be retooled. So I'm going to predict that we actually have the same amount of sacks, maybe slightly more, but I'm going to say it's going to be roughly the same for this season.
Yeah, I would say the only difference I would have with you there is that I'm not so sure we're going to see I think the results that Fangio is going to bring to the table are going to happen quicker than I should assume. You know what I mean? Like, you should, people should understand that no matter how good a person is or whatever, that, first year out of the gate, I mean, he didn't even know half these guys' names, 6 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like for the same reason last year that I predicted a top 5 defense,
mm-hmm.
and barring injury, I think we would have gotten there even with Boyer's issues. Because the reason I made that take last year was for the same reason. I thought our defense was at the point where, first of all, they're highly intelligent. That's the type of people that Flores and Greer drafted for that defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that they had it. Like, I think that they literally could have coached themselves last year if we had no injuries, and we would have gotten the same results.
Yeah.
So there's no reason I don't think that I can't make the same prediction based on the same grounds as last year. And now you're talking about a guy that doesn't have to be irrelevant. Like, Fangio is not irrelevant like Boyer was in my case, in the case of last year's prediction.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any reason why I can't say the same thing confidently, that we'll have a top 5 defense, and at some point during the season we will occupy the number 1 spot.
I think it's very possible,
and that's going to come with sacks and turnovers.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Our running game definitely, our run defense definitely increased or got better last season. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. I do think with the turnovers, you're going to see a big improvement there. It could definitely lead to sacks. You're absolutely right. There, depending on what they do in the mid, as a linebacker and with the linebacker core, and what type of looks they're giving, it could definitely create sacks. I think, who was it here that Doug Fins is saying that we're gonna hold on? What is this delusional patient? If you don't beat the guard, you can't beat the guard, regardless of who is the coordinator is.
And that comment in conjunction with Mark's comment here. Well, this is what I believe Fangio would bring to the table. I mean, where does any organic pass rush come from? Stunts and stuff like that. Not everybody has, like, Hall of Fame defensive linemen up and down the line.
Yeah, we used to.
Hey, Mark, where does y'all's organic pass rush come from?
That's true.
I've never heard of any of your defensive line, save for Jordan Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the Patriots. I don't know any of their defensive linemen, nor do I need to know. All I need to know is one name. Bill Belichick.
That's actually something I just thought of, in kind of looking at some of the comments here. Organic pass rush can actually not just come from the player itself alone. It can also come from proper coaching. You know what I mean?
And play calling. Absolutely.
Yes, Vic Fangio is not just coming to call plays. He's coming to be a coach. He's coming to develop and give proper technique and explain how to run his system up and down. Let it be, where you line up, your positioning, how you use your hands.
But ain't Judon a linebacker? DPF, isn't Judon a linebacker?
He is a linebacker.
That's not a defensive lineman.
Yeah,
I was talking exclusively defensive lineman, organic pass rush. Now, yeah, you can get organic pass rush from your linebackers. If you're running a 3-4, then obviously one of those linebackers does sort of become a down lineman. But that's not my point. My point is, who knows who your defensive lineman is? Nobody cares because it's Bill Belichick. We know they're going to be able to stop the run. We know they're going to be able to get in the backfield. You put Donald Duck in there 4 times over, and you're still getting the organic pass. Again, see, you guys are just going around and round and round when the original point was, what can a coach do beyond the player's ability to get them in the backfield? You know what I mean?
These are good points. You're absolutely right, delusional Patriots fan. Your guys have a lot of, different stats and everything. But the main predication of why they have those stats, they have a defensive mind genius like Bill Belichick behind it. That's why they get all those stats. That's why they're effective. That's why they're really good at what they do. Now, you get an arguably top 5 talent, Christian Wilkins and Zach Seiler and whoever else is on our defensive line with a Vic Fangio. You cannot tell me they're not going to be better.
Again, I'll go back to the secondary. Where is right here? Because DPF always makes great points. By the way, I think Delusional Patriots fan is one of the most fair people to debate with, even though he's wrong all the time. But he says, I was talking to the effect of being a fingertip away. But again, it comes to the secondary, because why was he a fingertip away? He was a fingertip away for one of two possible reasons. The quarterback ended up finding an outlet receiver to get the ball to at the last second before the sack was made. Okay. Or he was able to leak out and run because our linebackers, took the cheese in the secondary. One or the other. But if it's because he found another receiver, if a receiver got open on a scramble drill, that's going to be taken care of when you have a fully healthy secondary, you have an addition of Jalen Ramsey, and you have Vic Fangio controlling the joystick. That fingertip miss sack is going to be a coverage sack. That's the point I was making. Of course, I say gonna be. I mean, I'm being hyperbolic, obviously, but it's logical to conclude that your chances of that fingertip sack becoming an actual sack go up.
Actually, Dudfin says, as a defensive coordinator, do you think Fangio is going to coach individual position groups? Yes, I do expect him to get his hands dirty and get his hands in with individual position groups. Is it going to be all the time? Obviously, no. He's going to hire the people that know his philosophy and what he expects up and down to be able to instill that. So do I expect him to be there from time to time, especially during training camp and every other day looking at different groups? I definitely expect him to. I definitely expect him to talk to certain players, just like how you saw Mike McDaniel talking to the receiving core, one day talking to the running back core, one day standing next to the QB. He was all over during OTAs and during the training camp. Me and Culler were there. We saw it. So I do expect him to. Yes, absolutely.
And the third option, Patriots fan says, third option, the offensive line makes him beat him, and like, in other words, sort of like a screen block, and now he overruns the QB, and that's possible. But that kind of thing right there, sure, that does happen. But that's you say, okay, well, that's something he improves over time. That's something that he can pick up as a skill. And the thing of it is, you look at his first year, 8 sacks. You look at his second year, and his sophomore slump was 7.5 sacks. I mean, we're not talking about a guy that, we're talking about a guy that has nothing but ceiling above him.
Everybody, welcome Shake Money to the show.
What's going on, man? How you guys doing?
What's up,
Good.
Shake?
How
How's
you
it
doing,
going, man?
How you
Not
doing
much.
this morning?
I just got to my account. I'll be a few minutes because I'm about to go in. But oh man, I appreciate the morning content, man. Good stuff. And I appreciate Culler. I agree with everything you said. Fuck the Bills.
Oh, I am pretty going hard on
Oh man.
today, honkishness. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
You know-
allowed to say that word though. I'm white, right? So I'm allowed to say that word, right?
Hey, listen. When I do my drive times, I try to be fair and objective as I can. But being that I'm not hosting a drive time, I could say fuck the Bills. And as a dog fan, we're going undefeated. Fuck them.
So give us a traffic report over where you're at, man.
Oh
So
man,
we can
Port
cover
Charlotte,
more of the state.
the west coast of Florida, we're smooth sailing until you get to Sarasota and Tampa, and then you're fucked.
Okay.
Yeah. So G says Fangio is not a blitz guy. I want to address this real quick. G says that Fangio is not a blitz guy. You're absolutely right. He's not a blitz guy. In fact, I believe he's been noted as stating to certain media outlets that he's not going to blitz when they need to or have to. He's only going to blitz when he wants to.
Right.
That's the difference. And I do understand some people have concerns regarding us playing a zone, but I think it's the way you play zone. You can still make this defense exciting. You can still make our defense organic based on certain player personnel as well as play calling that can create that. And I think that's what Vic Fangio is going to bring to this defense. And shout out to you, Batman. I see you in the show. Welcome to
Good morning,
Top of the
Batman.
Tailgate. Good morning.
And NFL is lit is pretty much just parroting what I'm saying. Regardless, he still finds a way to construct a decent defense, and the proof is there. I mean, again, I really want to do that deep dive. I'm getting a little more energy about me. I don't want to ruin everybody's schedule this morning, so I think I'm going to re-adjourn early this afternoon and do this, and we're going to have this Fangio discussion and do this. Look, because
please do, because I don't understand how even these other fan bases, and I'm saying that in a kind way. I apologize. I don't understand how some of the opposition will say the Buffalo Bills or the Jets fans, or I've seen some Bears fans make comments and stuff. I don't understand how they can think that Vic Fangio is not going to improve the defense.
Right.
I mean, it's like,
and it's literally what he's done everywhere he's went.
Yeah, everywhere he's gone, he's had a top 5 defense, even or
it's
number 1 defense.
It's like saying the mail's not going to come today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't understand. And I understand it. You're looking at it just on the player personnel, but you also have to look at what that coach or that coordinator is going to bring to the table to help teach that personnel what they're doing wrong and help them get better. You know what I mean? There's a lot that more goes into it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're 8:15, so I guess Ali's got a little extra time this morning.
Just a little bit.
One of the reasons I did my thumbnail, I'm going to be doing my drive time today at 6.
Awesome.
We're going to be talking. I probably won't do all of it. I'll probably do part 1 and part 2 next week, but I'm going to be doing the evolution of the NFL helmet. And as a matter of fact, cool. The very first leather helmet, I heard Mark was testing out the prototypes of it.
The leather helmet?
Yeah, the very first leather helmet, Mark was testing the
Well, Shake, I was actually on the picket line calling for helmets. That's how far back I go, bro.
No, but yeah. I did that.
I'm that guy with the caved-in head you see in the black and white photo. You know what I mean?
I've seen some of the helmets, and it's crazy how it evolved.
Yeah, it is really neat. Remember, there was at one point that they had like plastic face masks.
Yeah, and then they took them away.
It was like literally only to stop you from getting poked in the eye. You know what I mean? Like it meant nothing otherwise.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why Fangio couldn't keep a job for 3 years is because he was working with dumbass head coaches that couldn't run an offense.
Well, I mean, and even the ones that did, I mean, they like Ravens, they still won the Super Bowl.
I might have exclusive photo of Mark wearing that leather helmet, by the way.
Okay.
I might.
Well, this ought to be good.
Yeah, let me see if I can share this.
Man, somebody's got their TV up really loud this morning. Nice.
Yeah, I'll just leave that. That's Mark in the leather helmet.
See, they were smart back then. Look how tall the helmet is.
Yeah.
There's a good 4 or 5 inches of contact before it hits your skull.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say. It almost, there's a lot more padding on the top, not necessarily on the forehead. It looks like it's more on the top side.
Almost like they knew what they were trying to protect against back then.
Yeah, and it was also interesting how they had the leather padding around the eyes and everything. That was kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, because you got and covering the temple because you're basically covering the buttons.
Yeah.
You know, the buttons that put you out if they get hit. You know, your temple, the part behind your ear. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Shake Money. I like your little icon there with the grill and everything. Did you see Culler and his cleaver?
Yeah, I seen it. It was awesome. I saw it on the group text. Culler was like the type of person that go, I'm sorry, people, all we have is mashed potato and corn.
And he's wearing a Jason Taylor jersey. That's great.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. What up, Lewis? Lewis in the house.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning, Lewis.
How you doing, sir?
Oh man, a little bit under the weather, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I hope you feel better. Definitely.
Is that keeping you out of work today, or do we get a traffic report from your area?
Oh no. Yeah, I'm still at work. Traffic sucks down here in Tampa. I heard Shake saying it earlier. There's been like 3-4 accidents reported. It's doom and gloom over here. There's no sun. It's overcast.
Yeah,
before sprinkling off and on. So
I was looking at the Miami traffic report, and between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. this morning, there was already 10 different accidents reported.
But you know what's crazy? I have one of my main offices in Tampa, and I'm only 2 hours away from Tampa, but the job knows how bad the traffic is, so they put me in a hotel across the street from where we got to be a meeting at, because they know nobody's going to be on otherwise.
That's called being prepared, definitely.
That's how bad the traffic in Tampa, bro.
That's crazy. No wonder, like, is 75 is along there, right? Along Tampa area, right? And it's
really... and the infrastructure is built for, a population like Ocala, but their population is more like Miami. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. What I was just saying is like 75 South being along there. Every time I take the turnpike and I get to 75, like if I'm going to go north to Georgia or whatever, that along that whole area is nothing but stop traffic, like all the time. Every time I've gone, along there, that's what it looks like.
So Jordan is petitioning the link, but Jordan, this is Ali's gig, so you'll have to petition Ali for 2 minutes if you want it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jordan, this is not a panel show. This is a morning show hosted by the Finn's Tailgate. If you'd like to wait for a panel show, maybe Culler or Shake Money or Lewis may have one later today. So.
But I will read your 2 cents if you put it in chat. I will certainly read your 2 cents.
Yeah, so go ahead and put it in chat and Culler will read away. So what do you guys think about what we've been talking about? We've talked about our defense. We've talked about Dalvin Cook. Do we need Dalvin Cook? Do we want Dalvin Cook? I don't mind the Dalvin Cook. I don't want to pay him top dollar, though. It better be a team-friendly discount, to be honest. And I don't, I don't expect like the lowest money, but I'm talking about like, I could see it being like $5 million with $8 million in incentives. I could see that. What do you guys think?
Shake, you want it first, or you want me to go? Or
all I gotta say is the thing about if we do get Dalvin Cook, all the excuses, I better not. One thing I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear next year. And I've said, Lewis, you heard me say this multiple times. Oh. No, see, next year it's gonna be, if we don't have success, next year is gonna be our year, because this is gonna be their second year under Vic Fangio. Fuck. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to curse that much, but forget all that, man. I don't want to hear no excuses if we get Dalvin Cook. No more excuses. I mean, it's AFC Championship or bust, in my opinion, if we get Dalvin Cook, and I hope we do.
I do agree. In fact, I'm right there. Like, you better be AFC Championship for sure, but I'm looking beyond that at that point. Real quick before Lewis goes, Finn's take, CB83 puts in there, what is top dollar? Top dollar would be $13 million a season. Lewis, I think, would have a head gasket blow if that were to happen. Go ahead, Lewis. What do you think?
Listen, I said it. I've been saying it. People get confused. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad. I don't think nobody on this panel would be mad if we got Dalvin Cook. But it comes down for me, is it a want or a need? I think it's a want. I just don't think it's a need for this football team, because I'm with Shake Money. In my opinion, even without Dalvin Cook, I think this team should be an AFC division winner in our division, and an AFC Championship game appearance. So if we did end up with Dalvin, I don't want to hear there. In my opinion, Ali, there would be no more excuses. I don't care. I think we got the coaches in place. I think we have the players in place, especially with Dalvin. But just to answer the question, for me, it's more of a want. It's not a need, in my opinion.
I agree. I understand it's more of a want. For me, it's more of a need, because we obviously have failed at addressing the offensive line and really building the offensive line like it should be. So why not get a player that can elevate your offensive line, or it doesn't matter what how good your offensive line is, and still be able to be productive? That's the way I looked at it, and that's why I said it was more of a need. But I do understand where you're coming from. It's not necessarily need. We have A-Chain, we have Mostert, we have Wilson. We already have a full room. I do understand where you're going with. I just can't trust our organization to really bring in the offensive line that I think we need. That's the issue. Like, they did get Teron Armstead, so that's definitely something. We got, our center. We have Robert Hunt, but left guard and right tackle, are you comfortable with that? You know what I mean? With all the people that we brought in? I mean, Wynn, he might be okay at right tackle, but are you comfortable with the left guard being Dan Feeney? And be honest, Lewis. What do you think about that?
I agree with you, Ali. And there's rumblings coming out of OTA that Isaiah Wynn might move to left guard, and that's fine. But in my opinion, before we go get Dalvin Cook, I would go get a guy like Dalton Reisner, who's still available, plug him at left guard, and you can have Isaiah Wynn at right tackle. And now when you turn Austin Jackson and maybe Liam Eichenberg, Dan Feeney as depth pieces, I think that's the way to go. You bring in, you got a legitimate starter at right tackle and Wynn. You bring in Dalton Reisner, and you just put Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg and the likes as depth. And I think that, for me, that's what I would rather see Miami do. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, I would love for them to really address the position fully and actually be committed to addressing it. But they kind of said earlier on in the offseason that they're pretty comfortable with the guys that they have. You know what I mean? So I don't expect them to really address it the way they should. And there's been a lot of talk about Dalvin Cook. There's been a lot of stuff, not just on the fan base. I've heard other YouTubers recently saying that it's really fan driven. Yeah, there's something to say about that, but there's also something to say that there's been a lot of stuff from people in the media as well. So that's why I think that I see a higher chance of us going after a Dalvin Cook than actually getting a Reisner or another offensive line weapon, in my opinion. So what do you think, Shake Money? Do you think it's more of a need than a want, or vice versa? What do you think?
Offensive line, you mean?
Oh, well, Dalvin Cook and the whole offensive line. Like, what's your whole thought on this? Like, what do you think we should do?
The one thing that I'm excited about, because I agree, Dalvin Cook in my opinion, is a want, and that's a good thing when you have wants instead of needs. You know what I'm saying? And in life, if you have wants instead of needs, you're doing good in life. You know what I'm saying? So if your team has wants instead of needs, I think that's a sign of a good team. So I think it's more of a want. I think that we could run it the way it is, but Why, I'm saying, if we have a cake, why not fucking put cherry on it and all the good stuff if we can,
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Very interesting.
Well, Ali, we
Go
were
ahead.
having this discussion last night, Ali, and I would love
Mm.
to hear your thoughts and even colors on this argument.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in my opinion, I would pose a question like this: how many games did the running backs last year lose the Miami Dolphins? See, because everybody wants to make it seem like, oh, we didn't run the ball. See, what I heard was we didn't run the ball enough. It was more of a Mike McDaniel problem. It wasn't so much the running backs. So, why would we have to go get a Dalvin Cook when I think our running backs did a pretty good job last year when they were,
Mm-hmm.
afforded the when they got their opportunities. I just think it was McDaniel. You look at the 49er game, only 8 carries. You look at Buffalo in the fourth quarter, we started throwing the ball. Culler makes the point all the time when the snow started falling, the running game went away and we started throwing the ball. I just think the running back room as currently constructed, I think they could get the job done. It was more of a Mike McDaniel issue. That's all I'm saying. Like, how many games, Ali and Culler, in your opinion, did the running backs lose us last year? I guess is the question. If you had to put a number on it, how many games could you point to and say, you know what, last year we lost this game because of our running backs?
That's tough to say. If I in any situation, I don't really think you could really say that the running backs lost us the game or won us the game, or you could say that about any team or any game for that matter of fact. I do think that there was definitely issues calling running plays, and especially when you transitioned after a really high impactful pass play, you immediately tried to run the ball in the wrong moments, in my opinion, and that has to do with play calling. So that's where Mike McDaniel falters. Um, at the same time, they went too much. There is an argument to be made that some of our falters at the running game was primarily on the coach. I do agree with you on that aspect. I think I think the reason that Dalvin Cook is more of a need is because of the fact that it fixes other problems that you have outside of the running game. It fixes your offensive line because of the fact that it's going to take pressure off of them because defenses are going to have to refigure what they need to do, especially depending on how you use the Dalvin Cook. Let's say you put Dalvin Cook out in motion in the passing game. It's going to retool that secondary, and the defensive line is going to have to be like, "Oh shoot, okay, we got other things to worry about." I mean, there's a lot of different things you could do. I mean, that answer, there's no right or wrong answer in that aspect, in my opinion. Go ahead, Color. I know you got something to say. You got that grin. You're on mute.
We have no, Jay was saying we have no viable option other than Davis at nose tackle. If Fangio utilizes a 3-man front, it makes sense to target Hicks as a second nose tackle. Mm-hmm. If not, sign Dalton Risner at left guard. We got a good backup left tackle and win. Dalvin Cook coming here is a joke, just like this idea of Hopkins coming here. And the rest is kind of like right along those same lines.
Well, I do expect us to get another defensive tackle. I do think that Hicks might be that option. I mean, he definitely has experience playing with Fangio, or for Fangio, I should say. But I don't know. That's what Lewis is asking is a hard question to answer because, yes, there are a lot of issues that point that it was the coach that was the coaching, or I should say the play calling that was the issue. But at the same time, if you're not going to really truly address the offensive line, and we've obviously failed at developing or drafting players there, bringing in a guy like Dalvin Cook could alleviate some of the issues that they have because of the type of play calls that you can call. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I'm looking at it. Go ahead. Color, comment on what Lewis said or asked.
I was out of the room.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. So Lewis had a discussion last night. They were discussing, do you think that the running backs at any points lost us any games last season? Do you think it's because of the running back room that we lost? Now,
Not really, no.
No, but there
I'm
was.
with you guys. I think it's mainly play calling in that regard.
Yeah, I do think it's primarily play calling, but there was an issue at the running game because there were times where one of our running backs, either be Mostert or Wilson, was out, and our running back room really got gassed at in certain games. So that is something that happened. In addition to it, Edmonds, when we had him, he was not really effective at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they did address it by bringing in Jeff Wilson, so they fixed that. We do have A Chain here, so I mean, Lewis does have something to say about being comfortable, but
Yeah, I think we're perfectly fine if we don't make a.
I'm looking at it. I'm using it as a band-aid for other positions. That's the way I'm looking at it. So what do you?
But I do agree that with a guy like Cook that can really hit the hole as hard as he does, that actually will, like, I don't want to say it'll improve the offensive line, but it would definitely improve the image of the offensive line. Like when your running back is in the secondary, after 2 seconds, nobody's really looking at the fact that you didn't hold your block for the full 5. You know what I mean? So they do have the ability to elevate an offensive line as far as, what its statistics look like. You know what I mean? But is it absolutely desperately needed? No, I don't, and that's why I've been on the side of the fence of it's probably not going to happen, because usually if something's not desperately needed, Greer doesn't even make a move when something is desperately needed. So, you know what I mean?
Here's also something to look at as well. Even if we don't get Cook, which I said at this point, I think it's just 50-50. Either we get him or we don't. Okay.
I mean, we were still rocking 99 yards a game last year for our offense and the quote unquote system that we're building, which overall is a West Coast system that favors the pass. 99 yards a game rushing is not bad.
You're absolutely right. That's actually pretty good. It's been more than it has been in previous seasons.
Another 5 yards a rush, and that's that's due to play calling. And those are situational plays. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what I was just gonna make comment real quick is that even if we don't get him, it's not the end all be all. There are other running backs that are still on the market today as a free agent that we can bring, that we don't have to trade assets or anything to get, or try to, bring them here. There's still a Kareem Hunt on the board. There's still Leonard Fournette on the board. There's still other running backs, if needed, on the board that we could sign later on. Let's say,
Fournette's
barring some injury that happens in camp. Yeah. I mean, granted, Leonard Fournette is a little bit heavier, and I get it why people may not want him here and whatnot. I understand that, but
he's got decent hands. I mean, he was an integral part of Brady's system in Tampa, which actually came as a surprise to me because I thought he was done.
That's actually
at that point,
Yeah, that's a really good point. But that's my thought process on it. I think that there are other solutions at running back if it's needed. Let's say, barring some injury. Look what happened to the Ravens. Was it this past season or the season before? Their whole running back room got depleted in the same week. In the same week in camp, got depleted instantly. God forbid, I'm knocking on wood, but God forbid that happens to us. Now
there is a strong case to be made for his pass catching ability, the way he can be utilized in our system. And look, if you guys don't want to believe me, just listen to what Mike McDaniel said about what he expects out of his running backs. They have to be able to catch the ball. And as far as, backing up what he said, he backed up what he said last season by getting Edmonds out the door. I'm sure Mike McDaniel wants Dalvin Cook here. I'm sure he wants that weapon to utilize.
By the way, what's that running back in Alabama that was drafted by Pittsburgh? I can't think of his name right now. But
I know who you're talking about. Go ahead.
It's a good argument, CB83. That's a good argument.
Derrick Henry is kind of like that type of running back that I forgot what his name was that got drafted by that Tua used in Alabama that eventually went to Alabama. I'm not Alabama, Pittsburgh. I can't think of his name.
I know who you're talking about. Hold on.
Talking about Najee Harris.
Yeah, Najee Harris. Exactly.
Caesar had it.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And
Harris,
I mean,
go ahead.
CB83 again. God, I hate freaking saying it. Like, he'll never. You know what? You know why I hate agreeing with CB83? It's not that I don't like agreeing with somebody I normally disagree with. It's that he'll never give me credit for it. You know what I mean? Like, he'll act like I know it. And here I am agreeing with him a couple times in a row. He says screen game underneath and pass catching. Yeah. And his first step after catching the football is just like how hard he hits the hole. He's a good Jeff Wilson. That's why I haven't really pushed back on the take too much, but everybody's saying that Jeff Wilson would be the guy out because of the money involved and all that. And the least amount to lose. But Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, Myles Gaskin, these guys have really hard first steps after they catch the ball. You know, it's like you catch the ball, the CB safety or linebacker is there, and your guy has already blown by him before that defender even gets set. Because of that hard first step. And Dalvin Cook definitely has a good one. He has a good couple hard first couple steps. You know, partly why he had the injury he had, you know, taxes those tendons and ligaments. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be, oh my God, we splurged. No. CB83 has a good point to be made that, you know, winners splurge. I know if I was a winner, I'd be splurging.
I mean, you look at the Eagles. The Eagles were last season up and down the off season. They were signing in players. They were making Super Bowl moves, and look what happened. They ended up in the Super Bowl. You know, They paid the money.
If it don't happen, I'm with Lewis in that regard. If it don't happen, I'm like, whatever. It's just Dalvin Cook. You know what I mean? We didn't have him before, you know?
Nothing's changed. Exactly. It's not like we're losing. Go ahead. Go ahead, Shake.
I like splurging. I remember taking my girl on her first date. I'm like, listen, baby, you can get anything on this dollar menu. Anything.
Damn, Shake.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That's funny. Oh man, no, but I don't know. Do you guys think tight end is a need?
We don't use a tight end, so I mean, only for blocking purposes. But as far as pass catching purposes, I think they're more used as a safety valve, like my man. And I agree with you, Culler. I am more of a staunch supporter of Durham Smythe than anybody, and I think Durham Smythe is going to flourish this year.
I agree. I see no reason he doesn't continue to improve. You know, his catch percentage dropped a smidge this year, but it still maintains at 76.5% on his career.
As a matter of fact, the year before he had the same amount of receiving yards as Mike Gesicki. The only difference is he doesn't do those one-handed fancy catches that Gesicki does, and he doesn't block you on Twitter, little sissy bitch.
Correct. Yep, he was getting the same 10.8 yards per catch as Gesicki. And it, by the way, at an 85% clip that year. Still, I mean, look. What about the playoff game, he had one reception for 20 yards.
What do you think?
Unless it was first or third and 25, that was a first down. You know what I mean?
Lewis, what do you think? Do you think tight end's a need?
Yeah, I would probably say no at this point. I'm with Shake and Culler. I think Durham Smythe can get the job done. I do like the guy Starbird or whatever his name is from Denver. I think he's more of the inline blocking tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see what pans out with this kid Higgins and Tanner Connor. I still think that might be.
I think it's too soon to make that call. I think people are
Right,
kind of overreacting. It's
I'm not out
OTAs.
on Tanner Connor for that drop. I just don't think he should have been in the game. I'm not.
I think you think it was too soon at the time. I got you. I understand. The thing is that I think people are overreacting, and we have to also look at both of the players that people are calling out that didn't look good in OTAs where they had some drop passes are brand new to Miami. They're brand new to the coaching, the system, the whole thing. You know what I mean? So it's not like they've been here for a couple of years and they have all these drop passes.
I
you know what I'm
think
saying?
Tanner Connor reminds me a lot of Gronk, man, the way he runs. Like he catches the ball and he's got that really goofy long stride, man.
Well, he was a wide receiver converted to tight end. So that is something.
I don't know if he's as big as Gronk, but
yeah.
Just seems like he catches the ball and he's like falling over linebackers. You know what I mean? At least the little action we saw him in preseason last year. That was kind of my take on him.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. What else did we talk about today, Culler? We talked about a lot.
Yeah, we did, considering.
Yeah. What do you think?
I know what.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my God,
hold on.
Lewis.
Do you agree? Because I know where he's going. Do you agree with the rankings of the wide receivers?
Oh man, don't put me in that. I heard y'all earlier.
Lewis, I implore you, bro.
Listen. I am high on Jalen Waddle. I look at he's kind of trying to reform his body. He's adding weight and stuff. Listen, I'm high on Jalen Waddle, but I don't know if I could put him above Cooper Kupp right now. I mean, I don't know. But I want to be.
I mean, you know where I'm coming from, though, because it's those types of things that our fan base runs with.
Right.
It just makes us look like complete jackasses. You know what I mean?
I think the one thing that's encouraging for me, because Culler, I've never debated you. I think we all know Waddle has kind of a hands problem. He's just a body catcher, and I think Culler, you were up there with me the other day on the Twitter space. We were getting to talk to Dr. Reginald Brown. He played wide receiver in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's a correctable. He could fix that, and I think Waddle's the type of player that is going to put in the work to. Because I just my opinion, I believe Waddle wants to be great. I believe that you bring in guys like Tyreek Hill and stuff, and Waddle wants to be the one on this football team. So I'm a little bit higher on Waddle than a couple other guys, but I mean,
and I'm not actually low on him, Lewis. As long as people ain't trashing Skylar Thompson, bro, I'm not gonna about it.
I get it.
Yeah,
I definitely get it.
Fully believe, that he can correct that issue because he knows what the issue is. He actually, people were already talking about this body catching idea before the start of last season. And you notice that for most of the season, he had corrected that issue.
Right.
Up until the point of Buffalo in the playoffs, whatever. The fumble against Minnesota, that's not a drop. That's a fumble. That's different, which happens to everybody.
I want to say that happened twice, though. He does need to get his hands on the ball and make sure he protects it properly, though. Because I think in two situations he fumbled the ball, I believe.
That goes along with watching it into possession. Y'all were there. I mean, Buffalo. I mean, you watch that teardrop come right into his. That's a hard catch to make. That directly over the head ball like that. I mean, that's probably your highest difficulty catch to make is when the ball is over your head, directly over your head like that, dropping into your basket, and you're running down and you're streaking down the field. So I know he's got. I'm not low on him. I cannot allow this narrative to go forward that we wouldn't have had a 250 to 300 yard performance out of our quarterback had a couple of those passes been caught. That's all it's about.
Absolutely. And I agree 1,000% with that.
And I think that would change everybody's perspective on Skylar Thompson. It is unfair for people not to at least say that's fair for me to say. You know what I mean? Because think about if Skylar Thompson did have a 300 bag on his stat line for that game, and we only lost by 3. Yeah. Is the conversation the same? Are people out here going, oh, whatever, same old third stringer? You know what I mean? No, that's not what the conversation would be, and we all know it.
I agree.
And so as long as people are willing to just let that die, I ain't got no problem. I love Waddle. But
where would you guys have Waddle going into this season? Like, is he in the top 10? Is he 9 or is he 10? Or
just outside? I think Ali and I both agreed earlier we had him at about 12th.
Okay. Yeah, I have him at 12th. Look, just because you're in 12th position does not mean you're not a good wide receiver. You're definitely one of the best. I mean, come on.
There's only 11 other wide receivers better than you in the league, of a billion wide receivers, with a lot of talent. I mean, because number 13, I could put somebody like Christian Kirk at 13. You know what I mean?
I have something I want to break down real quick. I just want to check something real quick here. I'm checking the stats.
While you're doing that, I'm going to share this so I can give credit where it's due. I've been talking about the man's article. This is from Matt Verderame. Looks like it would be Verderame, but either case. Posted yesterday, top 10 wide receivers in the NFL right now ranked. I'll give it his little explanation. In today's pass-happy NFL, narrowing this group to the top 10 was quite a challenge. Just last year, a whopping 22 players amassed at least 1,000 receiving yards, with all of them being wideouts, save for the Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. To make this list, there needs to be a combination of track record and likely future success. So it is highly subjective. I mean, he obviously, if he says to me, okay, Culler, I was talking about what we're going to say about Waddle in 5 years from now, then that's different. You know what I mean? But Cooper Kupp still got time to play too,
So Roger Goodell's burner is stating that the stats don't lie, that Waddle had a better season. But if you really break down the stats, there's a couple factors you really need to look at. One, Waddle played 17 games. In 17 games, he accrued 1,356 yards receiving. If you break that down over 17, I'm going to do it right now.
And the guy says there needs to be a combination of track record and likely future success.
And there's 79. That's about 79.7 yards per game is what he received. Now, granted, Cooper Kupp only played 9 games and he had 812 yards. That's only about 9. That's 90 yards per game. Technically, he was on pace for more yards than what Waddle would have had. So you can say he had a better season, yes, because he played more games. That's why. He also
still did what he does.
Kupp had
basically it's the equivalent to a quarterback throwing. Let's say if Tua only played 13 games, right? He missed 4 games out of the season, played 13 games. Now imagine if Tua had thrown for 350 yards every one of those 13 games.
Yeah,
that's basically what Cooper Kupp did. In the 8 or 9 games he played last year, he got his 100.
Yeah. So basically, he still had 6 touchdowns in 9 games. So 6 out of the 9 games that he played, he scored a touchdown almost.
So coming in at 10th, this guy has CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
He has Terry McLaurin at 9th. Cooper Kupp at 8th. Now this is another issue I have, and I could take the name, I could take not Waddle's name off of it, right? 8th? Are you serious? 8th? Let's see, besides Waddle, who else is on this list above Cooper Kupp? Cool, because I stopped looking at it as soon as I saw Waddle at number 7. Let's see what his explanation is. Waddle is the only receiver on this list who benefits from being the second target on his team, which means almost never drawing double coverage. The Dolphins' star dominated last year with Tyreek Hill opposite him, catching 75 passes for 1,356 yards and 8 touchdowns. Entering his 3rd season, Waddle's numbers could continue to increase if quarterback Tua Tagovailoa can avoid the injury bug. A former first-round pick out of Alabama, Waddle led the league last season with 18.1 yards per reception. I mean, such a loaded statement. Again, is this guy a Dolphins fan or a Tua-neer? Like, seriously. Waddle's numbers could continue to increase if quarterback Tua can avoid the injury bug. Is there some reason that Skyler couldn't deliver him the ball? Looked like he delivered it to him just fine to me. This is exactly what I'm talking about right here. Why does it have to be predicated upon Tua? You think Tyreek Hill gives a shit who's throwing him the ball? Well, I can tell you he doesn't, because the stats show that he doesn't give a shit who's throwing him the ball. Because I think Tyreek's best game was against Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Was it not? One of them.
I think you're right.
I mean, it's, this is just not, I want to see what he says about Cooper Kupp. I didn't see what it. After leading the NFL in receptions, receiving yards at 1,947 on 145 receptions, and receiving touchdowns 16 in the Rams championship season of 2021, Kupp was expected to do big things last year. Unfortunately, injuries limited him to 9 games. Yeah, I'm pretty sure third string quarterback might have had something to do with that injury popping up too. Now healthy once more, the Rams need Kupp to be at his all-pro best if Los Angeles is going to whatever. Again, as Ali just pointed out to you, he was at his all-pro best when he wasn't on the field last year with an inferior quarterback. I mean, this guy's got a number 6, A.J. Brown. Who obviously needs a better quarterback to be successful. Otherwise, he'd still be a Titan. Number 6, A.J. Brown? Really? I don't know. I guess. Fair enough.
No, AJ Brown is legit, bro. I will give him that.
I know he's legit, but
dude, that guy is what has he done? Well, first of all, he was amazing receiver for Ole Miss. Freaking played like a pro at the college level. Then he goes to the Titans, is their leading receiver. He was one of the big weapons that the Titans lost. Okay. Then he goes to Philadelphia, blows up, and goes to the Super Bowl. So I mean,
okay, fair enough. So fair enough.
So he's been better.
So for right now, 6th is fair.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a fan of AJ Brown. I like him.
Stephon Diggs at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Fair, I guess.
And he plays for a trash team, so he has to carry that trash team. That he
I'm
plays.
gonna make an argument about this. Do you guys remember the receiver for the Rams that got injured before they signed OBJ? I want to say it's Robert Woods. Do you guys remember what Robert Woods? Is it me or Stephon Diggs is turning into another Robert Woods?
Seems like.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? What do you think? Do you think he deserves the number 5 position, Lewis?
See, Stephon, you're maybe 8th, I'd say. Go ahead.
I don't know Robert Woods at number 5. That's too high for me.
No, it's Stephon Diggs.
No. Stephon Diggs is number 5. I'm saying he's turning into another Robert Woods. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that, I would say Stephon Diggs is top 5 still. But yeah, I can see the comparison. Yeah, I think he's definitely slowing down. I don't think.
Who do you think is better, AJ Brown or Stephon Diggs?
AJ.
At this moment, I would say AJ Brown.
Yeah, so I would have AJ Brown at number 5 and Stephon Diggs.
And so Batman, real quick, Batman says, Cup is better, but don't give me Scary Terry and CeeDee Lamb is better than Waddle. That's ridiculous. Fair enough. I would probably put those two guys at 13th and 14th myself, right around that area.
Yeah.
Maybe higher even. I think CeeDee Lamb you'd have to put around 18 to 20, in my opinion. And Terry McLaurin potential is high, but I might put Terry at, I don't know, 14th. I mean, but yeah, that's a good point, Batman. Roger Goodell's burner says Cooper Kupp could only dream of 18 yards per reception. I think I even said the last time that I had deja vu the last time too. We've already had this discussion. We already looked it up. And with Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp is doing just fine in the yards per catch department.
Mm-hmm.
I think we already went through this. So let's not do it again. You too, Pete. Appreciate you. So anyway, Jamar Chase at number 4. I guess that's fair, but he needs to accomplish a little more first, I think, to be up that high. I mean, I don't know. It's a little
Wasn't
too
he
early.
Rookie of the Year in his first year?
Yeah, he was Rookie of the Year. Yeah,
Rookie of the Year, Super Bowl attendance, went to AFC Championship game,
but
right?
Waddle also broke, records in his rookie year. So, we can make the same case for Waddle there. Waddle's bust isn't Waddle's in the Hall of Fame, for that. Fair. I mean, to be fair, to Waddle.
Well, what about the question El Capitan put in the chat? Who's better, D-Hop or Waddle?
D-Hop.
Because of his hands? So you're saying because of his hands.
Okay, wait a minute. At this point in his career, Waddle has way more potential than D-Hop. Way more upside than D-Hop.
Yeah.
Way better receiver at this point in both of their respective careers. But as a pure receiver and catcher of the football, and arguably route running too, D-Hop when he was cooking, far better than Waddle.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You have to understand that Culler's perspective on the wide receiver position is regarding purely based on how the technique and how the player catches the ball. That's what he's looking at. He holds it to a higher standard. So I understand where he's coming from. I do agree with you. Waddle has way more better potential. He has way more upside, in their career at this point. He's faster. He has the tangibles needed to become way better than D-Hop. But as a pure receiving standpoint,
right,
in what D-Hop was able to do specifically at the hands level, which is the biggest concern that you have with Waddle.
Right. And I'd actually agree with Roger Goodell's burner here. If you take D-Hop over Waddle right now, you should stop watching football. I don't ever tell people that, you know, I don't question people's football knowledge like that. But I do agree with the premise of the statement because, yeah, right now, I would take Waddle over Diop in a heartbeat to roll with him in the future going forward, sure. But my point was, if D-Hop even dropped one of those passes from Skyler in that Buffalo game, if that was DeAndre Hopkins and he even dropped one of those, I would go jump off a cliff.
And by the way, Culler, judging by how he writes and his patterns, I think Roger Goodell Burner is El Capitan Burner.
You
never
think?
seen him. Yeah.
You think he's the one stirring the pot on me?
Yeah, that's El Capitan, yep.
Wow.
Definitely.
That's a bold one, man. That's a bold claim right there.
So what do you think about this? Devontae Adams at 3.
Number 3, Devontae Adams. I think that's fair. I think he's got a great set of hands too, man.
I think he has one of the best hands personally, but I do agree. I think he is number 3.
Based on what he's saying now that Derek Carr's out the door, I don't think he's a very honorable person not showing up for Carr last year, because that's what it indicates. You know what I mean? That he didn't like the guy and took the year off. He almost admitted it, you know? When you start dogging your last quarterback right when he's out the door and you're like, oh, bigger and better things to come now.
I think Shake Money is right. I think that is El Capitan. The mustache looks very similar.
He's like, you got me, I'm out. We'll never see Roger Goodell's burner again. That's how we'll know. Because if it's not El Capitan, he won't be able to resist coming at me. So if it's not El Capitan, he'll be back. Anyway, coming in at number 2, Tyreek Hill. I don't think most people would push back on that too hard. I mean, you could argue 1 to 4 anywhere in there and nobody would argue.
Okay, well, but let me throw this out you, Culler, because what Ali just said about how you evaluate, and I'm just going not even going at you, Culler.
He drops a little too much for my taste, but he corrects the issue, so I'd put him at the higher end at 4. You know.
Oh, okay.
Who do you have at 4?
Tyreek Hill.
I disagree with you. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say that Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson are tied at number 1 because they're different style receivers, but they both have elite skill that is almost level, and I'll tell you why. Tyreek Hill predicates his entire game based on his speed, but he also has decent hands when he's open, whereas Justin Jefferson doesn't necessarily need to be open, but he has elite contested catches ability where he can catch balls out of nowhere.
That's true.
Even when he's closed down.
That's instantly. The one knock I have about Tyreek Hill.
Now,
but Tyreek Hill also is not a pure wide receiver.
I understand, but one thing that Tyreek Hill does that I think makes him equal in a sense is he's not afraid to address his catching ability. In a sense, what I'm talking about is if you ever watch any of his videos or his vlogs or anything where he's doing stuff on his own YouTube channel or other shows that he's been on and they're interviewing him, he's always, even at his store or shop that he had with his clothing line or whatever, he's sitting there in front of that machine that throws the ball at you at a high pace, and he's standing like 1 foot away from it, catching the ball at the highest speed every time, over and over. They have video of the guy looking away from the machine and catching the ball with one hand, looking away. Do you understand what I'm saying? The guy sits there and tests his ability to catch the ball all the time. Right. When you have that, you have speed, you have that demeanor that you're the best of the best, as he claims, and the confidence that he has. I'm going to put him at number 1 next to Justin Jefferson. I think they're equal.
Wow. See, this guy's left a lot of people off the top 5. My top 5 is totally different than this guy's. But
Hey, but anyway, hey, listen,
There you
hey,
go,
guys,
number one, Justin Jefferson,
What's that,
I
Minnesota.
Shay?
gotta run, guys. But I appreciate you. I'm gonna go back to being a listener. But hey, by the way, tomorrow night, Saturday night, I'm gonna be doing my top 10, top 25 all wide receivers all time. So speaking of which, so that's gonna be a good segue to talk about tomorrow night, Saturday night show as we do the countdown to late night XL. So all right, guys, man, fins up.
Thanks,
I'll be
Jake.
in the listeners. Appreciate you guys.
Gotcha.
All
Appreciate
right,
you.
Shay.
See you later.
All right, Shay.
Hey.
Everybody, make sure you're checking him out tonight at 6:00 for the drive time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have Justin Jefferson at number one, which I can't disagree pure talent wise right now. The man is good. He really is. No mention of Deebo Samuel in the top 10, yet you have CeeDee Lamb and Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I mean, CeeDee Lamb, I don't have him in my top 10. Scary Terry is kind of scary from time to time.
He's good. He's good.
But he's definitely good. He'd be on my lower top 10, maybe one bubble out, looking in.
But look at this list, though. No Keenan Allen,
Mm-hmm.
who catches just about everything thrown to him.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost say next to DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen probably has the best hands in the league. I mean, Justin Jefferson, I have to factor in now because, he just came on the scene. You know what I mean? But so you got Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, and the other gentleman I just mentioned. Who was it?
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Best hands in the league.
Well, but how are we grading this list? Are we just going by pure hands? Are we going by speed? Are we going what they do as a
well,
as a
for my
total from the wide
personal
receiver
list,
position?
Lewis, I don't go just by hands and eyes, but it is the heaviest weighted thing for me, the heaviest weighted variable for me, personally. But this gentleman at SI says, he says, where was it? He says there needs to be a combination of track record and likely future success.
So you mean to tell me Cooper Kupp can't have future success, or
Right,
is
exactly.
limited?
He can't continue to get his 100 per game.
The likely of future success, I could argue that he doesn't have Waddle high enough at that point. With that type of argument.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But that's what I'm saying. Look at the guys above Kupp and Waddle.
The only one I just
success for AJ Brown. I don't know.
Well,
AJ
Brown.
Success.
I want to say AJ Brown is young enough and he continues to be successful enough. Yeah, that's a given. He's gonna definitely be up there. The one I don't agree with is Stephon Diggs. I think he's gonna digress this season.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, and I hate to say this, but I think Devontae Adams is gonna regress as well further.
You think so? Huh?
I think without Aaron Rodgers or an Aaron Rodgers type of quarterback, I just don't see him being the guy that he was. That's just my opinion. I think Tyreek Hill, no matter where he goes, he's proven that he will still be Tyreek Hill. And Justin Jefferson under Kirk Cousins has been as advertised. He's the best, arguably.
So
I'm up in Tyreek.
Given that I have Waddle that you and I have Waddle at 12th, do you think that and we've already beat the dead horse of this guy ranking him above Cooper Kupp, okay? Forget that aspect of it. Even though you and I have him at 12th, do you think it's fair to have him in the top 10? For somebody to have him in the top 10?
I think definitely if we're talking about future success and what he's accomplished so far, then definitely. He definitely deserves to be in the top 10, in my opinion.
And I would agree. I actually think it would be fair to say.
I didn't know that that's how this was being rated at the time. So just so you're aware of that. If we're just talking about overall, based on the type of receiver they are, what they did, and what I expect, I still have them in the top 12, which doesn't mean you're bad. You're good. You're one of the best, bro. I mean,
right.
When you have a number one guy at number one, it's hard to say you're number two.
Well, the reason I asked the question is because I wanted to turn back into a homer and be like, yo, we got 2 freaking receivers in the top 10, somebody's top 10.
Based on this list, yeah, I'll say that. Hell yeah, we have 2. That's freaking awesome. Yeah. I mean, that is really, really good.
I gotta give some cheese out there to the guys, to the people that want me to be positive. You know what I mean?
10 of his top 20 players
are Friday. I'll be positive today.
Oh my god, that's funny. All right, Culler, let's get to final takes. We went 1 hour over my allotted time.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that, Ali.
Yeah, definitely. I won't be able to do this every Friday. Unfortunately, I look fortunately for you, I didn't have to work today, so that's kind of what's going on. Right. But if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend, turn on notifications, check out our links below. Shout out to our affiliates. Shout out to everybody. If you're hanging out, waiting for Culler's next show later today about Vic Fangio, check out some of our content. Check out Shake Money. Check Lewis and the Rabid Dolphin. Check out El Capitan and his show and DTA and everything. Check out some of the older stuff. We got some goodies there. Oldies but goodies.
Once again, appreciate the hell out of Lewis popping up today. Appreciate you. You as well, Shake Money. And Ali, again, thanks for hosting for us and allowing me to give my 50 cents.
Definitely.
Jay's mad at us. Jay's mad at us.
Look, I will get out of here to let y'all close up this show. This is your guys. And
you're good, man. You're good.
To echo the sentiments, I appreciate you, Ali and Culler, just letting me up and join the conversation, man. I think it was great. I'm loving the morning content, man, for sure. So
definitely. And Lewis, you're welcome to come and hang out anytime. Just show up, bro. You don't even need my invitation.
I got you. Appreciate it, man. You guys be good.
Thanks, Lewis.
Thanks, Lewis. All right. So, Culler, final thoughts. What do you got? Anything for us?
Blue skies and sunshine today. It's going to be a hot one. Go to the beach, people. Wear your sunscreen. Keep hydrated. Watch out for those Egyptian geese. They will attack you. And fins up.
Fins up, man. Talk to you later. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out for our morning show. If you haven't noticed, or if you're new to the channel or new to the show, this is Top of the Tailgate with the Fins Tailgate. Come check us out every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. usually. If I'm off, I'll try to go a little bit longer, but make sure you hit like and subscribe. Tell a friend. I appreciate you all, and I hope you all love the content. With that, I'm out. Have a great night. Yeah.